Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
There are things that Vrabel is doing that it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You can see how he's immediately putting his thumbprint on the team.
I'm told that that's very high on Mike Vrabel's list.
Throughout the hallways.
Always.
Of football.
Ambiance.
Yeah.
You can just start singing.
He's getting serious about his music too, right? Like we're all.
Not too. He's getting
So
serious
is
about
it
his music.
music or Muzak? Well, a lot of your people yesterday were...
I mean, you people. Mike, you thought Kyle Duggar looked a little thinner yesterday.
Super mixed feelings here. Am I alone? Please help.
You just never listen to me. He played one game against practice squad players.
Milton.
And now he's all of a sudden worth, what, to go to
If
Dallas?
that's true, then somebody should get fired.
Then I legitimately just said that. I didn't hear him. And I'm not picking on you because I know that
it's
you
fine.
argue with me because that's what we're contractually obligated to do.
That's fine.
So he's basically Mel Gibson of the Patriot. Is
Well,
what,
original like American
You really
Soldier.
are a letdown to your family. You know?
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's Paul, it's Deuce, it's me. Evan will be by later. Will Alex be by later? I think so. Yeah, okay, and we might have a special guest come in a few moments. We'll see. Yeah, well, I don't know. You know, I think that's kind of personal. But we're in the midst now of the off-season voluntary workouts.
Yeah.
Yep.
People
One week in
1 week in.
at this point.
Some running,
Yeah.
getting in shape.
We're going to have some availability today. Who's speaking? That's where Evan is, by the way.
Center James Bradbury as well as running back.
Okay, his name is Garrett.
Garrett. Oh, Garrett. Sorry. Jeez. Who's James Bradbury?
I don't know.
You think of Ray Bradbury, the
Ray
science
Bradbury?
fiction
Yeah.
author?
I thought James Bradbury was an Eagle, I feel like. Sorry, wrong Bradbury.
Cornerback.
Cornerback, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's Garrett Bradbury.
Garrett Bradbury and Antonio Gibson
And Antonio
joining us.
Gibby.
Okay. So they'll be talking to the media today.
Yeah, that's where Evan is, and I think Alex is at a community event that she is going to try to get from there to here as quickly as she can. So.
Okay. All right.
Hour two. She sent me, I'm doing an AMA for the newsletter this week. So Alex gave me a bunch of good questions. Thank you, everyone, for writing in. So we'll have that.
Is that with Reddit?
No, it's just our own Ask Me Anything. So Alex solicited questions online and received them. And
Yeah, it's funny, like, when I had to, remember when Lauren was here, Lauren Spencer was, sort of a social media content coordinator for a lot of years, and she asked me to do one of those, and, it was like an AMA, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like,
music boards?
No, I was thinking it was like a Reddit, like some kind of coding, and it was like, no, it's Ask Me Anything. Oh.
Yeah, right.
Far less complicated than I thought. Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I thought it was something I was going to have to know how to do from a technological standpoint. I was I don't know.
Just answer questions about your life, Paul.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, that's fun. That's fun. I'm looking forward to. I'm a little distracted.
Nothing to see
I'm a little
going on
distracted.
right
Evidently,
now.
Mike is knocking his mic off as usual.
I
but,
didn't touch it.
I'm interested to see what the listeners have in store for you, Mike. What kind of
Yeah, it
questions
was
they
all
ask
fun.
you, why you're not getting more
It was also
serious about
fun.
your music.
There wasn't a
Music,
question
as
about
Fred would say.
about a potential calendar with Ashton Genty and Derrick Henry types, and who else might be featured in said calendar. Not to be confused with the Boys of Patriots Unfiltered calendar, that swimsuit calendar we've been trying to put together for a while. Now that Paul, you've lost a little weight,
Yeah,
maybe you're
I can't
ready
really
to finally get on
qualify
that.
for a boys of
boys
maybe
of
an
PU?
older gentleman of PU, maybe.
I did hear a little bit of news, according to Albert Breer this morning. Abdul Carter will be coming for a visit with the Patriots
on Monday.
Yeah.
on Monday, and I guess it's kind of newsy because he's limited the number of teams that he's willing to go visit.
I think it's just the top four,
Top,
right? It was-
yeah, I think he said he wasn't.
Let's not kid ourselves.
If you're not picking in the top five, I think
don't
he
want
was
it.
like, yeah. So that kind of dovetails nicely, Freddie, into developing an opinion I might be trying to formulate.
You're workshopping it,
This is
yeah?
exciting.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm starting. Maybe I'm setting myself up for the big letdown, the big fall. I'm trying to convince myself there's still a chance that one of those two guys is available. And I've sort of come to the conclusion that Carter might be the more likely one, depending on what Cleveland does. If Cleveland were to, I think that 99, out of all of my models, Mike,
right,
I would say
models,
well over 95% of my models have both Carter and Hunter going 2-3 in some order. Okay, but I do think there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance that if Cleveland takes Hunter, that the whole cliched narrative of the Giants not necessarily needing another edge rusher, with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau already under contract on the edges, maybe they would, let Carter slip by.
Yep.
And take who?
Oh, I don't know.
Your models didn't
My models
The
didn't tell me.
European model? Did you check the European model?
And the European model did not give me the information that I needed. But I've just been trying to convince myself maybe there is a shot. Maybe there is still reason for some intrigue there with that third pick. Maybe they won't do it. Now, if I were the Giants, it would be a no-brainer for me. Even if Carter, you pick Carter and he works out and he pans out, there's a chance that he's better than those guys.
Yeah.
At least one of them. And, Thibodeau's still a young guy. You'd have to pay him soon. If I have Abdul Carter as a cheaper, defensive player of the year candidate, if he really, knocks it out of the park, if I were the Giants, that's a good problem to have. Too many good players.
Goes back to what I said last show, where you can't pick what positions are available, and you don't really get to pick, there just happens to be a star at a position that you already have two guys at.
Well, I recall the Giants won a certain Super Bowl because they had a pretty good front line.
They sure did.
So
I
that's
choose
not
to
a
not remember
bad
that,
thing
but-
to have.
Yeah, it's just it's never a problem. No one ever said why we lost, because we had 3 defensive ends and we only needed 2.
Yeah.
No one ever did that. It's like no one's ever got away from winning a title. One guard. That's going to be the difference.
Yeah.
So that's kind of news.
A little bit.
What else we got going on?
I can't believe the draft's in 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks has gone fast.
It is, because it's the 24th, right?
Yeah.
That's the Thursday.
Yeah. 2 weeks from today.
It seems like it's a little earlier than usual. Probably isn't, but
a little bit.
it just seems that way.
Yeah.
I think it is a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's
it
been.
is.
I think it is.
I always
a little
think
bit.
about it because my wife's birthday is the 23rd, so I'm always like, oh God, one of these years it's going to happen. But we've been far out, and it hasn't really even. But this is the first year we were one day away from
Now,
it,
Mike,
so.
is that going to cause problems? Can I add into the AMA here, Mike? If the draft, if the first round of the draft falls on
423,
will
I'll
that
have
be
to-
an issue?
Yeah, well, I'll plan ahead, Paul. I'll see it coming, and then I'll.
Well,
know
you can't
to
get in
make
more
something
trouble than
big.
I did. So
As long as you remember it, I think that's the big piece of it.
That's probably the more
Yeah, it's
important.
the thought that counts.
The more
Right,
important
right.
thing is
Hey,
actually remembering.
Sometimes
Right.
you got to work. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But the Beast came out too, Fred. I don't know if you've had the printer working
I
upstairs.
didn't
but
know that. I've been.
You didn't know it came out yet?
I didn't.
Paulie's
Oh,
been
I
printing
figured-
them
Oh
out.
shoot! I'm
I
gonna
printed
have to,
out like
I'm
a
gonna have to
couple
get
of the
that out
positional
there.
pages. That's all.
Little ranks you get. Well, you just need your arm lengths and your
And
hand size.
I did print out because I told you another developing opinion. I'm going with Walker.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah, Jalen
Trayvon
Walker.
Trayvon Walker.
really,
Yeah. Michael Williams and
huh?
what are you saying? Oh, Jalen Walker. Right.
Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
off,
did
I'm
I-
off on my names. I don't think it's Trayvon Walker all of a sudden.
printed
Playing the
this
role
out-
of Fred.
I
How
don't
about
No,
yourself?
because I printed it out solely for the purpose of getting a little bit more acclimated with the guy, and I was like, I don't even know his name.
I think I'm getting draft fatigue is what it is. I spent
Jalen Walker,
putting
right?
out our big boards today. So going through all those and this is year 15. I've been doing that, so that's exciting.
Year 15.
Yeah.
He's only been here for 4
Yeah,
years. Fred.
exactly. 10 of them he did just because he wanted to.
Just for fun, folks. I like the draft.
I have a
What are you
big
gonna
board.
do?
This is like 1984 when I faked being sick so I could stay home and watch the draft.
I miss the old draft. That gets into something else. But we talked about it before. I just love that Saturday, Sunday. That was great. I love those full days and
Oh God, they were the worst.
plotting down. Well,
They
you
were
had to
the
like
worst.
work.
Fred will
right?
tell you
Yeah.
this is much better.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it is from like an actual like I have a job now, but
Right, you work like Thursday and Friday. Those are work days.
Right, and
We're-
then you're
we
right
we
into
work on
it.
those days. Yes, they're later days than they normally are, but I work on Thursday, so it's not nothing. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Working an entire Saturday and Sunday in the middle of the off season is not what
Yeah.
I'm looking to do.
I remember back in the old days with the old stadium, the media press room for the draft was in like the club.
Yeah.
The club was one room.
It's a club.
And literally, the coaches and personnel were like a bathroom in a hallway away. making all their picks. And so they just walk over.
Just overhear them.
And it was just wild. I remember the year that they picked Christian Peters.
Oh.
And so they picked this guy. He's a lineman. And shortly after, somebody faxes over all this information about Christian Peters. Well, actually, that happened afterwards. But so we're sitting there, and Myra Kraft is sitting in the war room. She's just hanging out, doing the New York Times crossword. And they pick Christian Peters, and one of the media go up to her with one of the draft guides and said, "This is who they just picked." And it's got all the things.
Rap sheet.
And so she gets up, and she walks over, and to find Robert. And I said to our PR guy at the time, it wasn't Stacy, I said, just so you know, Myra just found out who Christian Peters is. And then we all know what happened after that. A couple days later,
They cut him before
they
even.
rescinded that pick.
Yeah.
So, but it was like so much more homey back then.
Yeah.
Like everyone was just sitting around in a room.
Doing
And I
crosswords.
forget the writer for the Herald. He was kind of a nut. And he would sit there with a pen cap,
Oh, Michael Gee.
Michael going like this. And I said to one of them, I said, "What is he doing?" He goes, "That's how he contacts the mothership." It's like,
What?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Michael Gee was he was an odd person, like an eccentric personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes from money,
Yeah.
right?
Come from a lot of money.
Yeah.
But a gifted writer, just different cat.
One of Paul's guys.
Yeah, he was one of my guys. I got along great with him. I got along
Oh,
with
I got
everybody
along
at the
with him
Herald
too,
except
but-
for the people that mattered.
But he
Yeah.
would sit there and just go
Yeah.
like this with a pen cap. I was like,
Did he
that's how
connect you to the mothership?
Yeah,
Paul,
that's
or-
how he contacts the mothership. So, but those were the days. It was a lot different. It
Yeah.
was really a lot different than it is now.
It's a whole production now, but
Yeah. So anyway, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. I just want to let people know
Yeah.
that if you are thinking of hosting a winning Easter brunch, I don't know if any of you do that, you can team up with Bob's Discount Furniture. Spruce up your space for guests in no time with Bob's latest selection of trendy accent furniture in wall decor, high-quality indoor and outdoor rugs, space-saving storage, otherwise known as somewhere to hide those Easter eggs. So stop in and stock up for spring and beyond at Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. So,
Do you host an Easter brunch?
Well, I was just
Mike?
going to say no, we don't. And I think my wife, she said this year is the year she kind of wants to do away with Easter baskets. The boys are now
it's time.
12 and 17, and I think we're done with
I
the
think
baskets together.
Easter candy is some of the worst candy there is. Those marshmallow eggs.
Oh no, yeah, those are
those are
Peeps.
awful. The Peeps, the
But
Peeps.
Cadbury eggs are.
Oh,
Cadbury
well,
eggs.
those are elite.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are something. Yeah.
I like the peanut butter cup eggs that
Yeah.
are a little thicker.
Russell
thicker
Stover.
in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're off the rails.
Yeah. I'm going up to the York Harbor Inn.
Oh,
Maine.
well,
we
that
do that
sounds
every
nice.
year
Look at you.
for
that
Easter.
sounds nice.
So they
Easter
have
brunch?
a good buffet.
Oh, they're
God,
hosting an
you
Easter
can't
brunch.
hide money.
It's a buffet.
Just going to.
No, we used to do the honey baked ham. That was the big Easter brunch thing that we would do in my house, but
Yeah.
not anymore.
All right. We're actually waiting for our guest, and while we do, we might as well open up the phone lines. Mitch is calling in from Georgia. What's up, Mitch?
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
All right, first time, long time. I got two things, and then I'll take it off the air. One, to respond to what something, Paul, you mentioned a couple weeks ago about the Julian Edelman, everyone loves him. Wes Welker, everyone has a bad taste in their mouth because they never won a Super Bowl and he had that drop. I think that's fair. I think championships matter a lot in football. And if you look at someone like a Donovan McNabb for like the Eagles, great career, really good statistics, never won it all. They probably value someone like Nick Foles more because if you're a fan, those championships.
Well, I
have
think
more
they're very
lasting
similar
impression.
players. I would value those two guys very similarly because I don't think either one of them was very good. I don't think it has
Well, I get
as
it.
much to
numbers
do.
wise, McNabb dwarfs him.
Well, he
right?
played, but he played. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the long-time starter, but
Yeah.
he wasn't very good.
Yeah.
He was on great teams with a
so
great
if you're
coach.
gonna-
That's debatable.
If you're going to project out Drake May's career over the next 10 years, and he either puts up these all-world numbers, like Patrick Mahomes level numbers, but we never win a title, or he's nothing more than like a Brad Johnson, but we win a title, which one would you rather have?
A.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Marino thing. Marino had amazing numbers, and he deserves to be in Halls of Fame.
I'd rather have a great quarterback. I'll find a way to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we should mention
That rather than have to hope that I win despite my quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not, like the way you're putting it, Mitch. You have to take the title because it's a guarantee. But
Right.
I just would push back a little bit. Like, I'll take my chances with a great quarterback for 10 years, as opposed to hoping my quarterback doesn't screw it up for 10 years and I find a way to win once.
Yeah. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate the call, but just reminds me, voting is open.
Yes.
For the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Good job by Mitch by bringing that up.
Yeah, thanks,
Absolutely.
Mitch. The 3 nominees are Adam Vinatieri, Julian Edelman, and
Logan
Mankins. Personally, I voted for Adam Vinatieri. I don't know about you guys.
I voted for Adam Vinatieri as well. I actually, one of the 3 I voted for didn't even make the ballot again for the 3rd year in a row.
Welker?
Yep.
Wes Weckler.
Yeah, I voted for Vinatieri, Mankins, and Welker, and I just I'm banging my head against the wall. I can't get them on.
The first post I saw from a Patriot fan backs up what Paul's always saying. He's like, it's a tough one, but I'm going to have to go with Edelman.
Well, plus Edelman's got a podcast, and
Listen,
he's got
Julian
a lot of
Edelman is a
following.
lock.
And he will get in.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Stone cold lock Patriots Hall of Famer, and should be.
Right.
So I'm not. But this isn't when I'm making fun of anybody. I mean, he
No,
would
it's
be
a fear that you have.
out of those 4 guys, he would
Yeah.
be 4th on my list.
Yeah.
4th most deserving. Now, Mitch just made a very compelling argument as to why he would think differently with the titles. I think titles are circumstantial. I think Randy Moss was a better player than Julian Edelman, but Randy Moss didn't win a title.
If you took Vinatieri and Edelman, titles now cancel each other out because they both have.
But I'm just saying that matters to some people. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
To me, the play is what should matter, unless the guy's like a bad guy. That's a different argument. But I'm talking about 2 really, really good Patriots. One won, a couple of titles, and one didn't. But if one of them was was a better player, like Logan Mankins is a better player, in my view.
It's really hard. I mean, you put it on the fans. You have to be willing to live with the results of what they saw, and we have recency bias. And with Edelman getting in, Edelman still being in the spotlight, I voted for Adam Vinatieri too. I just think that he deserves to be in there. It's almost like a seniority thing to me.
Did you vote already?
I did. Yeah,
Did
I
you?
went online.
Wow,
Well,
look at that.
well,
It's a quick vote.
I gotta vote for my guy.
Yeah, I mean, like Paul says, both Adam and Julian are locks, but I think now it comes down to order of operations, and I think Vinatieri might get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we kind of dodged a bullet. Now we have a chance to get him into the Patriots Hall of Fame before that happens.
Yeah.
So let's take advantage of that, and next year, Julian will be nominated again, I'm sure, and we can get in next year. Although
I
Gronk's
think
going to be
the 3 guys on the ballot
Put those two
this
against
year
each
to
other.
me are all I don't think have anything to worry about in the long term of getting in. But Fred's right. The order of operations matters, and the clock is ticking because I think Gronk is up next year. You could be within another year after that. You could get Bill involved, and all of a sudden,
Adams.
this is
year
why
6.
I'm looking at like Adam and Wes Welker and Logan Mankins. Oh yeah, no, they'll get in. They'll get in. No, if you tell me they're going to get in, I'll believe you. But
Yeah.
it's not as easy as you think. When
Right.
you only pick
Edelman
one a
and
year.
Gronk being finalists next year, that would be kind of fun. I think.
When you only
'cause
pick one a
they do
year,
podcast
you just
together.
never
Who do you
know
think
how
wins?
that's going to go.
The two
Between
of them
the
are
two,
up.
Gronk.
You think Gronk
I
wins?
think Gronk would win.
Yeah, I would say Gronk
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, I mean, no one ever said that Edelman might be the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Right.
know?
No,
So-
but Edelman. I mean, it's such a.
Although, who do you think was more instrumental in winning Super Bowls, Edelman or Gronk?
Well, Gronk didn't play.
Gronk.
Gronk?
But this is all depends on how you look at the map. I think that's what Mike is starting to formulate. Like the games themselves, like Edelman was an MVP in the last Super Bowl that they won. He
Yep.
was the best player in the field in that game.
Yep.
Gronk maybe
I don't
had
think
the,
they win the game if it wasn't
right,
for Gronk.
Right, Gronk probably has the biggest
Right.
catch
Right.
of that
He
game.
had that catch at the end.
Right.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
set up
Yeah.
the only touchdown.
Right.
Yep.
With an unbelievable play.
Yep.
And I think Gronk's presence allows a lot of
Yeah.
other things to happen that I can't quantify, but I believe and feel.
I think that
Again,
yeah.
these guys we're splitting hairs because I think they're all Hall of Famers, and I don't really think there's an argument against Julian Edelman or Logan Mankins. No, he's not a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's an argument for that. they're all Hall of Famers. It's just a matter of who gets in first.
Yeah.
You think of the third down catches Edelman had against the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49 on those 2 drives. The catches he had against Kansas City in the AFC Championship in 2018, where
And
what
Gronk.
did Josh? Yeah,
And
Gronk had
on
one
3rd
too.
and 10.
Gronk had
Again,
one, too.
it's like
Yep.
I just think that
Yeah.
it kind of gets misremembered.
It's what makes Edelman special in a way. I think he was, in some ways he was the opposite of Welker. They both had great regular seasons and had high volumes of catches. Welker had more. But when the game was on the line, Edelman had the catch of the fingertips right off the ground and the taking the huge hit from Cam Chancellor, remembering all those moments that
I would just
Edelman
argue that
had,
they overcame his drops and they didn't overcome Welker's.
No.
That to me is the difference.
I
Like
don't remember a lot of Edelman drops.
I only remember
the
one Welker.
playoffs. Yeah, me
That's
too.
all it takes.
Right.
And I remember Edelman drops in the Super. I remember Edelman drops in the Atlanta Super Bowl.
Yeah.
During the course of that game, but only people remember because they won. And Welker getting 10 for 103 in Super Bowl 42, no one remembers. Why? Because they lost.
Yeah, he would have been the MVP probably.
It's unfair, but that's life.
It's
That's
so
how it
unfair.
works.
And that's what it just makes me sad a little bit is that Wes Welker that was so much fun in 2007 when you got this guy who's looks like he's 5'7", he's got these crazy eyes, and you're like, who's this guy? Like, and he was so good. He was uncoverable. There was so much special about him. It's just unfortunate.
In 6 seasons, he had more catches for more yards for more touchdowns than Edelman had in 11.
Right. And the thing about Welker is it's not only was he a chain mover, hard to cover, exact route runner. He wasn't a guy like one of those smaller receivers that would drop to the ground as soon as he caught the ball.
No.
He could break tackles. He was a strong guy.
He'd get lit up too, but I mean,
And he would get yards after catch.
But I would say the same for Edelman. Like Edelman was tough with the ball in his hands after the catch too. Both great punt returners. Like they're both to me this. I don't really know why that there would be a question for either one, but evidently there is a question on Welker because I can't even get him to the ballot.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just dropped the ball. And I wasn't the one who nominated him this year. I have nominated him in the past. Karen Garigian did a great job of nominating Wes this year, and we can't get him on the ballot. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. But I mean, this is what makes it fun. When it gets to this, and now the fans will decide which one of those 3 guys, all extremely deserving candidates. Vinatieri would be my top choice. It would be in that order: Vinatieri, Mankins, Edelman. But it's.
Are you worried about Mankins? Because I worry that he's going to get caught up in the wash of the Edelmans, the Gronks, the Bills, not the Toms, but that.
Yeah, I think he'll
group
get.
Of Hall of
I think
NFL
he'll
Hall
get
of
in
Fame.
eventually. I worry about Welker because we can't even get him on the ballot. At least Mankins been on the ballot a couple of times. This is 3 times, I think, on the ballot.
Mike in Florida wants a quick question. If it was only Welker versus Edelman, who would you put in?
I would put in Welker, but my guess is the vast majority of you people, as Felker likes to say, would put in Edelman. And I don't think you're wrong. Like this isn't. I get snarky a lot. This isn't one of those examples where I'm being snarky. I'm not. This isn't like they put Kevin Falk in ahead of. No, this is a truly all-time great Patriot.
Tyler in Delaware, is the voting structured to allow us multiple votes? I was concerned that this may sway and overtake the polls on this. I think it should only be 1 vote per site visit with a login or email. You may run into people spamming votes for a certain player. I love the show. Thanks for the guide, blah, blah, blah. I tried to vote multiple times, but it said you've come to your limit for this IP address.
So what is that, like 10?
No.
Oh.
No,
Oh,
it was
one?
just twice.
Oh.
Yeah. But that said, if I went to another place on another computer, I would probably be able to vote again because there is no login, which
Fred explaining
that's
how to
fine.
game the system.
I think
that much to you.
I think overall it all comes out in the wash. But here is Evan.
Hello.
Speaking of washed, I'm only kidding.
What?
So,
I don't think I was ever. What's the opposite of washed?
how was press availability?
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, we talked to.
How was James Bradbury?
Garrett Bradbury.
Oh, right.
Which was good. Seems like a good guy. Seems like a personality, is talking and pretty lengthy answers and thoughtful answers, and just an all-around good guy. Had some good things to say about Stephon Diggs, who obviously was with him in Minnesota for a little while, and Drake May, and just playing some competitive ping pong already with Drake, it sounds like, around the facility. So you can tell that he understands that, the relationship between the two of them, quarterback center, is going to be important. So it seems like they're trying on and off the field to kind of build that camaraderie already, which is good. I liked what he had to say. He seemed like a pretty personable guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was Antonio Gibson?
Oh, we haven't gotten to Gibson yet.
Oh.
But I've had my chance to talk to Gibson plenty. But he's
I thought you were back kind of quickly.
Yeah, I just hung out for Bradbury, which was worth it. It was good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Back to this Hall of Fame thing. Ellen, Wisconsin. I'm voting for Jules. To me, it's who embodies being a Patriot. To me, that's Jules. I think that Mankins and Vinatieri both deserve it, but at the end of the day, one is a guard and the other is a kicker who spent more time on the Colts. I hear that. I've heard the Colts thing.
That's a fair argument.
But here's the thing. The reason why Vinatieri was up for the Pro Football Hall of Fame is because of what he did here. Mm-hmm. Let's face it. It's because of what he did as a Patriot. I know he won a Super Bowl with the Colts, but what makes Adam Vinatieri the most clutch kicker of all time is the stuff that he did with the Patriots.
I would agree with that, but I think if his career ended when he left New England, I don't think he'd be up for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think the numbers are out of...
Really?
He's the all-time leading scorer. Like, he put the numbers away with longevity, too.
So you don't think... Oh, that's interesting.
Like what you said is accurate.
Yeah.
The clutch part, he's known as being the greatest clutch kicker because of what he did as a Patriot.
Yeah.
That's, I think, indisputable as...
Yeah,
these are the facts.
You saw the
and
kick through the snow.
Indisputable.
I guess you didn't see it really, but you heard it.
Fred and I heard it from the opposite end zone. We seriously couldn't see it. Like it went up and we lost it. Remember?
What? Oh,
the Vinatieri snowball kick because it went the opposite end zone. We were standing in the other end zone.
Yeah, we just heard people yelling. It's like
and we just heard the roar of the crowd. Well, I guess we're going overtime.
Was he kicking into the scoreboard end or the
the other end?
The webmaster wants you to know that you can vote 2 times per day on the Hall of Fame.
Can't hear you, Matt.
I would tell you the south end zone, but no one knows.
Our webmaster wants you to know you can vote 2 times a day for the Hall of Fame voting.
2 times a day?
2 times.
Like, why do we allow that?
2 times a day.
I mean, this is your department, Fred. I don't know why you're asking me these questions.
Nick writes in, speaking of how tough Welker is, I remember when James Harrison absolutely destroyed him going over the middle, and I thought he died. And then 2 plays later, he's back in the game. Of course, that was back in the day when helmet-to-helmet hits were not banned. If that happened today, Harrison might be in jail.
There were a few of those hits over the course of Wes Welker's career that I don't know how he got up.
And like the one that Edelman took from Chancellor that you brought up earlier is another one. Like those 2 guys,
tough as nails.
Yeah.
That's
what made them unique in that role, because that role is generally a very short-term position because of that. Because you're constantly going over the middle and subjected to big hits. Those 2 guys were able to stack up season after season of production while taking that punishment.
Ian in Calcutta, Patriots Hall of Fame isn't necessarily the best player, but also the best Patriot. I agree with that.
I agree with it also.
Edelman easily gets the edge by being a lifetime Patriot. Unfair to the others as it may be, lifetime Patriots should get preferential treatment. I think there's something to be said for that.
I don't like that reasoning, but I do like his original premise, or her, I'm sorry. Forget who
I think there is something different about a Team Hall of Fame.
Team Hall of Fame doesn't necessarily go strictly by the talent, but I don't. In other words, I don't blame Wes Welker for the fact that he started his career in Miami. Like that's and then the Patriots recognized how good he was, and they brought him here, and that's where he became Wes Welker. Yeah. Like I don't hold that against him, and certainly Mankins' situation I don't hold against Mankins or Adams.
Rick in Rhode Island, Edelman gets the vote over Welker, based on the video of Belichick talking to Welker about Wally Pipp when Edelman was returning punts with Welker out.
Exactly.
As long as we're using good logic.
Well, listen, Welker wasn't always Bill Belichick's favorite player. No? Because Welker,
good little foot soldiers.
Yeah, he was a sneaky wise guy.
Not that sneaky.
Yeah.
I know that when we talked about the committee meeting, and even before the committee meeting, that this was potentially something that would come up, that Edelman is going to beat Vinatieri on a popular vote. And I feel like very early, very small sample size on Twitter, I get that, but it kind of feels like that's sort of happening, at least out of the gate. And I'm curious to see if that's truly what ends up happening. I think that Edelman's popularity is just through the charts, and I know that his podcast I'm sure is going to be all over this, and he's probably going to have be campaigning for himself through his podcast, even if it's tongue in cheek, it's still going to be happening.
He tweeted earlier, great company. He retweeted the graphic with the 3. I understand the mentality of the Patriots Hall of Fame is different. It's not like strictly. I do wonder about what Evan just said though about the popularity side of it. Like I think if this was done like say in like the late 80s, like Mosi Tutupu would be in the Hall of Fame. There was no Patriot he would have gone in the Hall of Fame ahead of Andre Tippett if it was like 1988 vote, because he was like the most popular Patriot at the time.
He was my favorite Patriot growing up.
Mosi's Mooses in the in the end zone. Like,
and they didn't know what real winning looked like back then.
But I'm just saying, like the popularity side of it shouldn't be
Steve Grogan
determinant.
Yeah. I feel like if we don't go in order, then this logjam is never gonna. We're never going to get out of the logjam, because guys like Vinatieri are going to be pushed down the line by Edelman and Gronkowski and, any 2010s dynasty guys that start to come up too. So it's like, if you don't go in order, then you're creating a Vrabel situation where it takes them 5 ballots, to finally break through.
I mean, you could get a situation, not a stretch, where whoever doesn't get in this year, like it's going to be Gronk next year. McCourty's knocking on the door. Belichick's knocking on the door. Matthew Slater's knocking on the door. A guy like Mankins could be waiting a decade and be on the ballot every single time. That could happen. Easy.
Bill,
again, because it's popularity.
Bill in San Diego, I agree with you guys that Welker belongs in the Patriots Hall of Fame. Personally, I think he belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, especially if players like Terrell Davis are in. His 6 years in a Patriots uniform were as good as just about any wide receiver's 6 consecutive years on any team. As for getting into the Patriots Hall of Fame, the 2 ways I see it happening are either Brady comes out and adamantly says he belongs, which is highly unlikely, or Kraft makes an owner's pick a la Parcells. Well, that's kind of what we're worried about when it comes to Welker.
I'm interested about how Bill will go with. I mean, I'm sure the fans will definitely vote Bill in, but
I think Bill should be a special one, just like Tom was. I mean, technically, Bill's still coaching.
Yeah.
So I don't think he should be eligible yet. But
sure
once he's done coaching, period, I think he should be eligible.
Yeah. I feel like he would want a big salary.
I think Bill should be eligible if he never goes back to the NFL. I think whatever he does in college.
Yeah, but you can't, like, he has to guarantee that. Like, he has to tell me I'm never going back to the NFL. Okay, now the clock's ticking.
Well, it's kind of like Tom playing in Tampa. Like, you couldn't put Brady in the Patriots Hall of Fame until
Why do we not make anybody else make that promise?
What?
Why didn't we make anybody else make that promise that they weren't coming back?
Because we're changing eligibility for that one person. We're saying we're not going to wait 4 years.
No. But, like, how do you know that someone else isn't going to come back?
Because we've waited 4 years and probably they're not.
Oh, I'm not saying that you don't wait 4 years for Bill.
I'm saying you don't.
But I'm saying if he coaches North Carolina for the next 3 years, I'm putting him in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah.
He's still coaching, though.
But he's not coaching in the NFL.
I know, but, like, he's one step away from it.
No, he's never.
He hasn't stopped. He hasn't stopped coaching for 4 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little different, don't you think?
Not to me, but I understand.
Yeah.
UNC got Bill mic'd up a little bit. They got him mic'd up down there. He's doing the content now.
Wiz Khalifa, who was over there?
Jordan?
No. There was a little something, a rapper.
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne was there.
Oh, Lil Wayne was there.
Yeah.
A rapper.
Lil Wayne was, I guess, at their practice. Bill hugging him.
Yeah, I did see that.
They're close.
What do you want me to do, Merle? A rapper, It's
they're close.
Yeah.
Andrew's in Portland, Maine. What's up, Andrew?
He's a purple guy.
Hey, nothing much. Thanks for taking my call. I have 2 things for you today. Question on Abdul Carter. I feel like he is our ideal landing spot at 4 if we can get him. Felt a bit of a pipe dream all this time, but now with Travis Hunter going too, and the Giants already having defensive ends taken care of, feels like that might actually be on the table for us. I just have a question about the character concerns. I heard a story about an incident on like a bus where there was an altercation.
With Abdul
I kind
Carter?
of wanted to just get that he had heard what actually happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was
hadn't heard
something
that.
with a tow truck guy
Yeah.
like 3 years
Yeah.
ago.
Thanks,
It was a
Andrew.
year ago. Yeah, I don't
Who
know
hasn't
about.
got into it with a tow truck driver?
I don't know about the bus
Right?
story.
I don't know about the bus
story.
story
Is the
either.
tow truck driver? That's a hard one.
Tow
Yeah,
truck.
that's the story with him. But I mean, the charges were dropped. Like it never escalated beyond that. I don't know. It's not like a situation that's currently active. In terms of his status.
Hey,
So.
let's hope it causes him to fall. I'll take him.
Yeah.
I'll take him at 4.
Think about if Paul was eligible for the draft, all the red flags about confrontations that
jeez.
he's had.
I know.
Toys R Us, all that stuff. It would all come out.
All I would say is good luck finding a confrontation in my past.
Youth sports.
They'd find that spot on Route 9.
Cops haven't
Oh,
spoken.
yeah.
Cops haven't
Do you
spoken
know what
to
he
me
did
since I was
here?
like in high
Public
school.
defecation.
There's on a serious note,
Gotta get back to football.
Bob McGinn had his annual position by position roundup where he digs up all the dirt, and we were joking yesterday on Catch 22. You don't want Bob McGinn calling around about your client if you're an agent, right? Like he's the one.
Who's this guy now?
He's
Green Bay.
He's a reporter. He was with Green Bay for a very long time, or covering the Packers for a very long time, and he's like the Grim Reaper when it comes to the draft. So he said that there are some concerns about Abdul Carter being high maintenance and just being kind of a diva.
I've heard that,
but
Micah Parsons
but
to
again,
use the
this
same
is
school.
McGinn reporting this, but that has been more of it than legal trouble or anything truly off the field. It's more like football character questions, like Monday through Saturday, is this guy going to be in the gym, in the weight room, in the film room? Is he going to be doing, working on his craft, or is he kind of just one of those people that's going to show up on Sundays and be a star? Which I would say, well, if he's going to be a star, then he's going to be a star. But
Your boy, you mentioned the visit for Abdul Carter that Albert Breer talked about. He spoke about Carter a little bit in these terms, that he's kind of a different guy. And it's not all that different from some other elite pass rusher. He mentioned Micah Parsons. He mentioned Von Miller. Different. Just kind of they're on their own. They do, I think the phrase that Breer used was, I wouldn't expect him to be a captain of a team someday. He's kind of keeps to himself. And a little bit of that kind of a individual guy. Not that he doesn't want to win, but that he's sort of into his pass rush and being great at that, and not necessarily.
I don't know.
The rest of the stuff.
I think Will Campbell's going to be the 4th pick for the NFL draft.
I kind of do
by
too.
the New England Patriots.
I kind of do too.
Yeah, and I'm all in on it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll get some answers for the draft coming up now.
Yeah.
We'll find out from the
Okay.
inside.
Yeah. So, I think. Listen, we got maybe a visitor. Oh,
We do.
look at it.
We do have a
Hunter,
visitor. We do have a visitor.
Henry, bum, bum,
What's up? What's up?
What's happening?
Let me come around.
Yeah. Go for it.
How we doing? What's up? Yeah, man.
Good to
Good to
see
see you
you.
guys. How y'all doing?
Have a seat.
Great.
All right.
Welcome.
All right. What are we talking about? Dwight Howard? Wow.
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter.
So, welcome to Patriots
talk about you.
Unfiltered, Hunter.
All right.
So, how's the workouts going? Did you get jacked this morning?
I tried my best,
Yeah.
man. I'm trying my best. Trying. But, the workouts are good, though. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good to
Is
have
it-
everybody back.
Are you a kind of guy who, I can't wait for the season to start, or you know what, we need this time to get ready. Like we can take our time here.
I like this time because it's a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
It's a little bit slower, a slower pace, but you get to build connections with guys a little bit more off the field. You're not just diving into game plans and everything. So it's a pretty cool time.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, and I don't even know if you can answer this yet. You've had different offensive coordinators pretty much every year you've been here. To get Josh back, I think everybody's wondering, what did Josh learn? What's going to be different? I'm sure you probably don't even know yet, but do you have any sense? Are you curious of what's Josh going to what's changed from when he was here in 2021?
Josh is going to be Josh, man. It's hard to say right now. It's so early, but I'm excited to have Josh here. He's a tremendous mind offensively. Enjoyed being with him at 21, so again, excited to kind of get that ball rolling again and kind of dive into the offense and really trying to master things. I think that's the biggest thing with everything. Just trying to execute everything at a high level because he's a great coach and demands a lot, and excited to be under him again.
You ever ask him about his fascination with the visor?
With the visor? I haven't. Or maybe y'all should ask him that.
Any chance to throw it all with Drake May? During I know it hasn't been a long off season because you're just getting back. But have you guys had any of those or plans maybe?
We'll get plenty. We're going to get plenty for sure. Drake's a great guy, great quarterback. So there will be a lot of throwing sessions in our future. A lot of connections and time spent in the meeting room and then also on the field. So excited for those times.
So when you're sitting at home and the Patriots are making all these free agent acquisitions, are you thinking, I can't wait to meet these guys? And have you? And is there anyone that in particular he's like, oh, this guy's cool?
Man, I'm glad to add everybody. I haven't been able to meet everyone yet. It's kind of chaotic a little bit, which all over the place, splitting workouts, just doing a lot. But yeah, I've met all the guys on the offense for sure, and excited to always add people. I feel like we did a good job of adding just like good football players, but also just good people too, and going to add a lot to our locker room. So looking forward to that.
Hunter, just how exciting is that? To see them bring in all these people. Kind of reminds me when you got here in 21 when you came in with a big free agency class. Like, does that reinvigorate the locker room a little bit?
It's always good to add good football players. Like I said, and hopefully they can add that. But we have a lot of work we got to put in together for sure. We got to come together as a team. We got to come together as a locker room, and we got to go out there and execute. So we have a long road ahead of us, but it's fun to always add good football players in the locker room, and excited to get to work with those guys.
They brought Hooper back too, teammate. How you guys complement each other? Good to have a guy back.
Yeah, I love Hoop, man. Really enjoyed my time just in the room with him on the field. We communicate really well. We're the same draft class, so same age, man. We've known each other for so long. To actually play with each other last year was just such a joy, and excited to kind of build upon that this next year.
So Hunter, I wanted to ask you, your new coach used to talk about this all the time when he was a player, because Fred and I are 100 years old. We've been around long enough that he was playing when we were still covering. He used to always watch the draft, and he wasn't alone. Larry Izzo used to talk about this, and they just cross off the names of the guys at their position. Do you ever look at the draft and say, Tyler Warren, we don't need him. We just let him slide. Do you ever watch the draft in that way?
I don't know if I watch it that way. I always love seeing success for the tight end position, man. I feel like it's a little underappreciated maybe sometimes in the draft, because I feel like when teams have a good tight end, they're usually a good football team. So I always just, I appreciate the tight end position. I feel like there's a lot of good tight ends coming out this year. And so I don't know if I watch it that way for sure, but there's a lot of good ones. If we add one, that would be great. We'd love to have him under my wing and teach him as much as I can, because I had a great guy when I came in the league, in Antonio Gates, and he taught me a ton and really took me under his wing. And I'm very, very thankful for that.
I want you to talk about your trip to Africa, because you took that with your wife during the off season. But first, we have a Claire from England who is like our biggest fan of tight ends.
Ooh, yeah, I love it.
Tight ends.
Yeah.
Loves them.
Great.
And hello, everyone. Hello, Maureen. I have to introduce her emails that way. And hello to the fabulous Hunter Henry, big fan. With the landscape of the sport changing just within the space of your career, what is the biggest difference that you feel impacts how you play your position as tight end?
Ooh, man. How the landscape of football has changed?
like how the offense has changed or rules have changed.
Man, I've gotten a lot of protection now, which is nice over the middle of the field a little bit. So maybe that could be a nice thing for me. Obviously, the game, it became a lot of a passing league for sure in the middle part of my career. I think it's reverting a little bit. It's it's circling back to definitely being run oriented a little bit. So, but definitely the passing league is always good. You love trying to make plays in the passing game. So a little bit of both. But I've always tried to be a guy that can be versatile in the way of being a value in the run game and a value in the pass game, and trying to take pride in both of those things. So I think that is always needed in this league, and it can be hard to find sometimes. I wouldn't say, lead in the blocking realm, but I try to take pride in it and really, really do a good job at it. And so I think being a versatile tight end and being able to do both is something I try to do myself.
How much your quarterback is mobile affect Like, has that changed how you play a little bit more?
I mean, definitely scramble drill is a big part of this league, and Drake obviously is very mobile, and so you always have to be available and be ready because the play can be extended, and you kind of have to keep your eyes on him, kind of get a feel for where he likes things and work with them because those extended plays are big plays in this league.
Yeah. So let's talk about your trip to Africa. Why did you go, and what did you experience there? And
Yeah. It was it was a long time in the making. Feel like the first part was a mission trip. I went with a group called International Justice Mission. It's a group that me and my wife have been supporting for about 8 or 9 years. It's a Christian organization that fights human trafficking across the globe, and they have a headquarters office in Nairobi, Kenya. That's where we spent about 5 days. We were between there and a town called Mombasa, which is on the coast, and we were just meeting survivors, meeting people in the justice centers, meeting people that do the work on the front lines, and just the support that we've been able to provide in a way just to actually see it like in person was just honestly life-changing and just really, really meaningful for my wife and I. So it was really, really cool to be with that group for a couple of days. And then we went out kind of and did a safari for 5 or 6 days. That's always been on a bucket list of mine. So being able to kind of go do that, see all the animals, and just do that with me and my wife, and then some friends of ours, just got to cross that off the bucket list.
Did you have any encounters where like, this whatever rhinoceros is getting a little too close?
I've seen this stuff in internet clips.
Yeah.
It was there were a few sketchy times. I think the first day or two, we actually ran into we tracked down some lions that killed a buffalo, and they were about to eat dinner, and we were our driver just pulled up on the buffalo that was dead right there, and they were coming over to eat it, and we were all yo, because this is an open.
Give this guy his space.
This is an open truck, right? It's a wide open truck. You could just jump out, or they could jump in. So it was definitely a little bit jarring, at first. But the driver's oh, don't worry. These lions are used to these trucks.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't even bother us in a way. And I was
okay.
all right, I put a lot of trust in you, and sure enough, look at me now. I made it back. So
how was the food?
Food was solid. African food definitely grew on me. I don't know if it was, there were some things maybe you don't like that you're not used to.
Buffalo steaks.
Just some things that are different, but it's good to try new cuisines,
Sure.
new cultures. So I really enjoy doing that.
Getting back to the mission work, if there's one thing that you'd want everybody to know, and/or how they can help, or learn more.
I think the biggest thing with just International Justice Mission and just human trafficking in general is spreading awareness and allowing people to know that this is going on because in a lot of the areas in Kenya, these people just are getting taken off the streets or taken from their families. Sometimes the families are selling the kids. It's terrible things to the in these communities that are so poor and so ridden, and there's a lot of people that don't even know that some of this stuff is going on. So just spreading awareness, obviously helping fund or giving in any aspect can always help in some aspect if your heart is called towards that. I would just call everybody to just look into it. That was someone came and talked to me when I in high school about slavery and human trafficking, and I was I can't believe that's still going on to this day. And it just sparked interest in me at that time. It took me years until I was all right, you know what, this is something I want to support and get behind. But hopefully, if this can impact somebody, just a little bit of spark or a little bit of curiosity to find out a little bit more and help spread awareness. That's really what IJM is all about, and what we're trying to do is just spread awareness to try to eventually end this in our lifetime.
All right, well, good work. All right, we'll let you get back. I know you have meetings and stuff you have to do. So
You don't want to ask him any scheme-related questions?
That's okay. We'll have time for that.
He's going to come with those.
the call.
I'll be ready. I'm not going to say
He's a
anything
ball
either.
knower.
He doesn't say anything.
You'll see it on the field. You'll
we
see it.
appreciate you stopping in anytime.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
All
guys.
right,
thanks,
All right, man.
Hunter Henry.
Yep. See you guys.
All right,
Have a good one.
good stuff. Good to see him. Good to see the guys back.
The boys are back.
You get a little jump. You get a little pep in your step when you see the boys.
Did you give a speech to the team yet? Have they asked that now? I don't know. Fred, little rally the troops.
Not yet. I'll stop by at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get maybe from mini camp we get a chance. You know, they might be a little dragging. Because OTAs and then mini camp comes and they get that time off before training camp. Yeah. It's when mentally they might be a little drained. Fred's there to pick them up.
Like the Patton speech where they got the
Fred's
Patriot flag in the background and Fred's got the hard hat on. And
yeah.
The only good AFC opponent is a dead AFC opponent, something like that.
Wow. Right. Well, that's what Patton said. That's a famous line from Patton. So, all right.
I don't think the AFC East was involved in that.
No.
It's Deuce's history.
I'm sure the AFC East didn't know.
Did you ever see that movie, Patton?
Hell yeah.
Did you see Patton?
I did not, but I know of it. I know what you're talking about.
That was
George
the
C. Scott,
right?
Yeah, that was the Jaws of its time, Paul.
Wow, come on.
Probably so it doesn't hold up. Got it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was kind of a period piece, so I think, All right. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. We're talking about Patriots Hall of Fame, and that voting is open. It's Vinatieri, it's Menkins, and it's Edelman. I personally voted for Vinatieri. I know Paul voted for Vinatieri.
I haven't actually voted. That was my pick
on
the nomination.
Get your day in now.
I'm an embarrassment of riches.
Who are you going to vote for? Vinatieri?
Vinatieri.
Yeah.
I mean, order matters to me.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah.
In this case, it does. Will writes in, while I love Squirrel, that's Edelman, Welker's success in the slot is the reason he, Edelman, was drafted after never having played a down at wide receiver. Welker has a special place in my heart, though since the only Patriots game I have attended was the season opener in Miami, and I watched Welker beat Ahmad Carroll for the 99-yarder in Miami. Yep. The fact he's not made the ballot is a travesty. I will vote for Adam or Menkins or anyone else before Squirrel until Welker gets in.
I respect that. I respect that a lot. I will say, though, I think the Gronk and Edelman induction ceremonies will be pretty lit. Does the kids say that's still lit? It'll be pretty cool, I bet. There'll be a raucous crowd. Maybe not so much for Vinatieri.
It would kind of be fun, like, if they next year if we put them in together.
Yeah, right.
Like, because they already do so much stuff together.
It was a tie.
With their podcast
against
and
the
everything.
rules.
Yeah, the rules need to be,
Oh, really?
We need to some changes to
you
them.
have problems with the rules. Okay. Travis in West Virginia, thanks for keeping the Hunter Henry appearance a secret until the last second. The suspense was killing me, and the reveal was so exciting. Eye roll. Sorry.
Tell that to Claire. I'm sure Claire was like, "Woo!"
Well, her email came in before the show, so somebody tipped her off.
Really?
I was going to say, it was actually, it was tweeted out.
Right,
was it?
Oh, yeah,
multiple times.
Right.
There's also a push notification about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I don't think we were trying to, put one over on anybody.
Slipping Claire the information, just so you know, a little tight end action.
Yeah.
That's her jam.
But Claire just sent an email thanking me for reading her
Yeah,
email.
how do you think Hunter took that?
She likes tight ends.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he took it the sexual way. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
The position.
Mike writes in from North Carolina. Patriots need to do whatever it takes to move up to pick 2 with Cleveland to get Travis Hunter. He's a generational talent that does not come around often. Plus, you get someone that plays both sides of the ball. Nothing against Abdul Carter, but Hunter is the guy. For years, we've been complaining about getting a young potential superstar receiver to go with a quarterback, and finally, there's one in this year's draft to go after. Ownership and Vrabel need to give Cleveland whatever they want. So my question is, what would we have to give up when it comes to compensation to Cleveland to get to 2? I say give them pick 4 along with the Judon round 3 pick and our number 1 next year.
Ugh.
You want to give all that up?
For Travis Hunter?
He does.
Just to move up 2 spots
he
to take
wants
Travis
to give all
Hunter?
that up. Yep.
I don't want to do that.
I really like Travis Hunter, too. I still just think that there are some questions about what is his ceiling. Like, what is he really going to be? Is he really going to be a play every down, both-way player, or where in the middle does it actually end up falling?
Yeah.
Is he able to go both ways? Is he
We're kind of at that
receiver?
stage of the draft where, even the best players, those 2 guys, are the best players. We just spent 15 minutes doing it for Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
And now, we're doing it for – and it's happening. is he a generational guy, like you said? Or is it the fact that he's so versatile and so talented with the ability to do both that we're overrating his ability to do either one?
Right.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Please don't
He's-
jump on me, because I know how you feel about Travis Hunter.
He's generational for the fact that he can play both sides of the ball. I don't know if that makes him a generational talent.
Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. I mean, like, if you put him in last year's receiver class, is he even the best receiver in the draft? Right? I think that's an honest question.
I don't think he would have been ahead of any of those three.
I think he might have been ahead of Odunze, but I don't think he would have been ahead of Marvin Harrison and Neighbors. So, like, what's generational about him is what he does, and that is that he plays both sides. That's generational. We haven't seen that truly.
Did they call Champ Bailey generational at the time?
But I don't think so. But Champ Bailey did it as much as Travis.
Okay.
Travis Hunter truly has played full-time both sides of the football.
And I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think Champ Bailey entered the draft as a legitimate two-way threat. He was going to play both ways in the NFL.
No, you're absolutely right. He did not.
I don't think he.
I had no
think he did.
recollection of that.
No,
I know he played both ways at Georgia. I mean, Hines Ward played like quarterback at Georgia. You know, like there was. I remember like a lot of different versatility from different players. I don't remember anybody like this that was legitimately getting like people who matter. You know, Daniel Jeremiah's and, you know, Lewis, like guys that know what they're doing, legitimately saying this guy could play both ways. Yeah. I don't remember that in the past.
Do you think Travis Hunter could have done what he did if he went to a team like Alabama or LSU?
It's a great question.
I honestly don't think so. I mean, you need a coach like Dion that's willing to give you the chance, I think. I mean,
but
to me, that's a
assuming
big
he had
part
the
of it,
opportunity, would he have been able to do it?
Probably.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's really, really gifted athletically.
I'm sure.
I mean, this is a guy who was like a 5-star recruit and only went to Jackson State because of Dion.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically been the best player at his level his entire
Forever.
life.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of those types of guys, and like Colorado's not Alabama, but like it's the Big 12. Like it's not like they're playing absolute cupcakes all the time.
No, it's a good level. It's not the SEC, but it's a good level of football.
I don't know. I think the one thing I would say about him playing both ways is that I think we all need to get out of our heads of that happening early in his NFL career, because I don't think the team that drafts him is going to want him to do it right away. Now, Vrabel talked about it a little bit at the owners' meetings. Like, if you get to the point in year 2 or even year halfway through the season where you feel like, all right, he has a really good grasp of corner. Like, he knows what he's doing. We feel comfortable with him at corner. Now let's see if we can mix in some touches on offense or some snaps on offense. That's one thing, but I don't think anybody is expecting him to come into the league week 1 and be playing 70 snaps on both sides of the football. Like, I don't think that's what we're looking at. I think
a story that would be, huh?
It's more of a long-term thing.
Imagine if like they draft Travis Hunter and first game, like out of the chute, he plays like every snap.
Like, what does it look like in practice? I mean, we obviously practice closes off during the game, but what if we're in training camp and it's like he's with the offense and he just pops over
the next
and
day,
he's just going back and forth.
He practiced with the defense at Colorado, so he practiced mostly at corner at Colorado, but you can't play.
It'd be like
you
high
can't
school,
play both.
like in high school, like on Tuesdays you do offense, on Wednesdays you do defense.
Oh my God.
You know, because it's the same guys.
Right.
That are all playing.
Well, I mean, not to blow my own horn.
Except for TJ.
I
He
was
only played
probably
offense.
the worst tackle to ever play high school football, but that first game, like, I got talked into playing when I went to prep school, and then I realized during the course of the game, I'm playing every snap because we didn't have enough guys. So I played every special teams, and I was terrible. I'm not saying that I was good,
You know why
but,
they made him play
but
football,
it's possible.
right?
It's because they didn't have enough guys.
Because he was only quarterback in PP too.
They're like, that kid
If
looks
he was
vaguely
PP1,
athletic,
they
but
would
you
say, no,
should play too.
we don't want you anywhere near football.
Well, it's funny you
They saw
mentioned
this
that,
and they're
though.
like, you're a tackle. Like, 6 feet, 190 pounds.
You're a
Like,
big guy.
You're a big
I got my
guy.
ass
Tall guy.
kicked.
Yeah.
Oh, I never want anything to be over more than Williston, Northampton. Oh, my God. They took their starters out. But I was at halftime. I'm like, I never wanted anything to be over more in my life than that football game because they were just killing me. And I was, defensive tackle too. So I'm in like a 4-point stance. I can barely get bent over. It's bad.
It's funny because we were watching the Bruins have that alt cast now with like Bergeron and Tuukka Rask, and Bergeron, they asked him about practicing on the PK. And he was like, well, I didn't really get to practice it very much because I was on the power play.
Right.
So they would rather me practice the power play than practice on the PK. So Patrice Bergeron killed penalties at maybe the highest level of anybody that, of his generation without really practicing it.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of how I feel about Travis Hunter at wide receiver, is that like he didn't even really practice it, and he was one of the best in the nation at it just off of God-given instincts and natural talent. Like imagine if he actually gets a chance to really focus on it and practice it, day in and day out, like how good he could get at it.
That's the
What would you be
excitement.
willing to give up for him, Fred? Because I think the draft pick, and I'm not a huge, like, we got to hoard the draft picks kind of guy.
Joe Milton.
But I think the draft picks are important right now.
Me too.
Like the
I do too.
quantity of those, like they have 4 top 100 picks, right?
Yeah.
I would hesitate to give up 2 of them.
Yeah,
I
me
would
too.
be. I might be willing up to obviously the pick swap, and then next year's 2 and 3.
So, well, I mean, so you're not giving up any of them this year,
Right.
Yeah.
I just like
Gotta
you
give up
said.
something.
No, because like if I tell them, oh, we'll give you a 5th or a 6th, like they're gonna laugh. So it's got to be high picks other than the swap.
Well, the swap doesn't count.
I know. So it's got to be high picks, and I don't want to give up high picks this year.
Yeah, you need about
I don't-
800 points on the trade value chart, which is the equivalent of like a mid to low first round pick. So you have to get the future first.
So your future second and third isn't going to get it
first.
done.
No, I
Future
guess not.
first.
the
right?
future first is really
Yeah.
a decent.
How about a future
Starting.
first 2 years from now?
So really
I
like
mean, and then
a second.
Yeah, it's just
It's
tough.
probably even more removed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think Travis Hunter's worth 2 first-round
yeah.
picks.
I guess I don't love him that much.
Yeah.
I see.
I
I
don't like Carter that
I
much
am
either.
incredibly intrigued by the talent. I just don't think they're in a position where they can make that kind of a trade. I
need
think
too
that
much.
these picks, they're going to have to find some good football players with those four picks. I mean, they're going to need
What-
to find at least
left
2
tackle.
hits.
If
Yeah.
you knew that he was going to be a perennial floor Pro Bowler, I'm not saying all pro. If you knew every year he was going to be a Pro Bowler, what would you give him?
At what position?
Wide receiver.
That I mean,
Yeah,
a decent amount, but I don't have a crystal ball.
Right, you
so
don't.
I,
You don't.
I don't know if he's going to be
Yeah,
that.
if
I
you're
think
going
he
to tell
is,
me
but-
he's in the conversation with Chase in the AFC,
Justin
Chase,
Jefferson
Diggs,
and-
as an AFC Pro Bowler, yeah, now I'm willing to give up 2 of those picks, but you can't do it that way.
I know. Jeremiah writes in, back to the Hall of Fame. I honestly would put Vinatieri in this year, then put Gronks and Jules in next year. Evan literally said this as I was finishing the email.
If there's a year to put 2 guys in together, like they are like the best of friends, right? So I feel like that they're not going to look at that and be like,
Right.
oh, this is disrespectful. Like they're going to look at it like this is a chance to party,
Right.
So
Paul has a very important phone call, apparently. Yeah.
anyways,
Yep. Sean writes in, Wes Welker is a better football player than Julian Edelman, but he's the victim of circumstances beyond his control. Playing for just one team is a small factor, but winning Super Bowls is the main thing. Edelman was fortunate to be part of 3 Super Bowls and being the MVP in one of them. For Welker, unfortunately, he was with the Patriots between 07 and 12, and the Giants ruined his path. It's like the Patriots in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Gino Cappelletti and Stanley Morgan are good enough to be there, but the Patriots didn't win.
Yeah, it's all fair. You get into the nitty-gritty of it, and you keep having examples on both sides for both those guys, and it's hard to choose between your kids because both those guys made so many huge plays, put their bodies through so much punishment for this team and to win games. And I've always hated that Welker gets killed for that one play. As Paul said, Super Bowl 42, he probably would have been the MVP. He probably would have had a very similar kind of trajectory that Edelman had, but
yeah, I just
injuries
wonder,
and-
like, from the committee, like, my question about it would be, what makes Logan Mankins more deserving than Wes Welker to be on the ballot? No disrespect to Logan Mankins, but he was in the no Super Bowl, 10-year
Same thing.
period too.
Basically the
See,
same career, yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Yep.
So if we're gonna hold all of like, he didn't win and he doesn't have a ring and Edelman had, like, if we're gonna hold that against Welker, I love Logan Mankins too. He's one of the best offensive linemen of the dynasty, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, he's a guard, and we're talking about a guard versus a prolific wide receiver.
Right.
And so if you're going to be like basically stand for Logan Mankins, because he's been on the ballot multiple years in a row at this point, but you're not going to put Welker on the ballot because he dropped the ball in the Super Bowl. That wasn't a great throw. Like that's what we're gonna do. But for Logan Mankins, it's like we don't care. Like I just don't understand that.
That's why I worry that Logan Mankins is going to be the maid of honor for these next few years of Hall of Fame inductions, because there's just big names with big followings and recency bias. It all plays into it.
Yep. Louif writes in, Deuce was right. Tuesday's conversation about Mike's ancestors got me thinking, since he said his ancestors are from Quebec City, which is also my hometown. I started doing some reading about the history of the Dussault name in Quebec City.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there is actually a historical building in Quebec City under Dussault. It's named the Maison Francois Xavier Dussault. It was built between 1887 and 1891. Around that time, the Dussault family ran a very successful tobacco manufacturing business, which helped them secure the fortune necessary to build such a nice building. Seriously, you should look it up. It looks great. Anyway, I'm done with my boring French-Canadian history lesson. Thanks for. So are those ancestors?
Well, yeah, but I could go even farther back than that. The original Dussault was named Toussaint Dupin, who was there in like the 1600s, early ones. Yeah.
Did you do like ancestry or something?
It was so fun.
So you have like generational wealth, like socked
no,
away
absolutely
somewhere?
not, Fred.
No.
But I think you guys would probably be surprised. Like if you did it, it's fascinating when you uncover who all your ancestors were and you figure out.
My ancestors were probably like European peasants.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of mine were peasants
like
too.
My ancestors were like Romanian Jews. Like cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm like famous or anything.
No, it's all from my grandmother's mother. She's old American, and she has all the roots going back to like connections to the witch trials, connections to Plymouth Plantation, King Philip's War, Revolution, Civil, all that stuff.
So were you lighting matches during back then, or were you against it? Like what was going on?
Yeah, I was lighting off the cannons.
Wow, that's something to know. That's pretty cool to know that type of family history.
Oh, it's super fun. I'm jealous of people who haven't done it, because I got kind of the end where you know everything, and I know where how all my different ancestors got here. A couple from Ireland, a couple from Plumbers from Scotland's another big one, which not as flashy, Fred, as some of the other ones I've
I didn't know they had plumbing in Scotland back then.
Back in the 1900s, I had two ancestors come over that were both plumbers from Scotland.
Wow. Okay.
Not that exciting.
It's very interesting.
I don't have any of this knowledge, and not really any desire to learn it.
Why? What? What's the matter with you? All right, we got to delve into this. Why don't you want to learn about your family history? Are you afraid of what you're going to find?
No.
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, really?
Vito Corleone over here.
You're Italian now? You're Italian through and through?
Yeah. Both my parents are they're both Italian, but I'm not, like my grandparents, I believe, on both sides were born here.
Yeah.
So.
But they can trace you back to the mother country.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like,
Yeah, but
I don't want to use the derogatory terms.
But there's
off the boat.
No, but there's other like their parents were probably maybe immigrants. I assume that's how they got here, and like going back, like do you know what part of Italy your family's from?
I believe Avellino.
Avellino.
Oh,
yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Is that north or south? Italy?
I believe it's a little bit toward the south.
I would say it's north because you have blue eyes.
So that's like I always thought that so now he's gonna make fun of me. Like you don't know? See, you should learn. I always thought I was from northern Italy because of that.
Yeah.
I'm very fair-skinned, blue eyes.
Right.
But I believe
you don't have that olive oil complexion
in the charm.
Yeah, well, charm.
Well, I have the charm.
That's where Tony Soprano's people are from, Avellino.
Yeah, I believe I'm from Avellino.
Yeah.
And,
So
I believe both my grandparents, both my mother and father's parents, they're emanated from the same area.
All came together.
So they can trace you back to the mother country.
I think.
Yeah.
And which means that you could be a made man.
Right. Oh.
I think not. I grew up in the right place for it, though.
I mean, you think not because you would never do that sort of thing, or because they can't trace you back to the mother country?
It's not. You don't go looking for what you don't want to find.
I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers, but I just
I
feel like I hear Mike's story is a great one, that he did all that research and found out all these wonderful things. I hear so many other stories that don't end like that.
No.
That kind of just like
fizzle out.
Well, worse.
Well, like you find out some dark secrets.
Yeah, like you're like your families were owned slaves or something. Something you don't want to know.
Well, I know, but like maybe you should know.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, well, Lane's. I did Lane's. Her family was from Sicily, and her great grandfather,
I knew
came
I
over.
liked Lane.
He was a coal miner in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. Like coal miner. Like talk about a crappy job being a coal miner. Like
Good honest work in there. Like Will Hunting.
Like
Oh,
Welcome
man.
to Wrexham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Zoolander. Got the black lung pop.
Exactly.
Tyler in Ludlow, I'm formally calling out Deuce because his alma mater is going to get smoked by my alma mater, Northern Illinois.
Oh, really?
To kick
Two
off the college
powerhouses.
football season. We added a fullback in the draft, post-draft. I would love to see the Patriots pick up former NIU fullback Brock Lampe, or Lampe.
Sounds like a fullback.
He's 6'1", 252 pounds,
love
primarily used as a blocker, but has the ability to catch passes out of the backfield.
We need to pick him so I can say that.
So we should ask Hunter, with the fullback coming back, but
That's true.
I guess they probably would have had the fullback by now, don't you think?
There's
How
only
much of
one
that
old
Futures
fullback.
kid that I forget, what's the kid's name, that they signed to a Futures contract? He's kind of a fullback type.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Well, if they pick
He's a tight end, I
if they-
think, but he's kind of more of a
if they
H-back
pick
fullback
Scooby-Doo,
type.
can they make him a fullback?
I don't know, Shaggy.
Huh?
Are you talking about Scadaboo?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. Scadaboo's a running back. This guy's too small to be a fullback.
So
Oh, really?
I got
Yeah.
a sleeper for you.
Giovanni Ricci.
No, that's the guy.
That's your
He's
freaking
my
no,
people.
no. There's only one fullback in this draft that the Patriots can get. But
Woods.
who's your sleeper?
Pat Conroy.
Okay.
You don't know who that is.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's
Who's
just
Pat Conroy?
that's just frightening.
I mean, is he a fullback?
Day-
We do fullback
Day
research.
3 sleeper. Incredible athlete. Spent most of his time as a tight end, but I think he could have like fullback traits.
Yeah,
What's his measurables?
I don't have him in front of me.
30.
Where does he go to school?
He went to Reading High.
Oh.
No, Old Dominion.
Okay.
He finished his career at Old Dominion.
All right.
And he was productive, really high-end athleticism for the position, though. Seriously, his raw scores were among the best that they've had for fullbacks. Now, I know that's a smaller sample. You don't have 50 fullbacks in every draft class. You know, it's a smaller group, but his were very, very high-end over the last 25 years.
This is why I know who he is.
Uh-huh.
Good combine.
So you knew that.
Yeah, good combine.
Okay. Yeah. Play with my nephew.
Tyler also wants to know, if you were to go on Julian Edelman's podcast, Games with Names, which game would you want to discuss? Games with names.
Probably 28-3 for me. That'd
I
be a good
do,
one.
you know, there is a soft spot for me for Jules for stealing my thing.
Mhm.
That whole games with names thing.
Yeah.
Fred and I have been talking about that for years. They
Yeah.
stole it from
Right.
PU.
Harper's Muff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bad ones.
Yeah.
I'd maybe do
The
the,
corpse
one,
of Steven Jackson.
the comeback against the Broncos in 2013.
Oh, that's a good
which
one.
was kind of
That's a
a
good
coming out
I don't
party
know what
for
the name of that
Jules.
one is, though.
I was here for that.
Peter. That's Peter. That's the Peter game.
Comeback.
I was
Peter,
here.
Peter.
I was
The
here
ball.
for that
Peter.
one.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of it.
Oh. That was back before you were covering the team and just...
Oh yeah.
Weren't those the days? Imagine watching a football game like that now.
We had great seats. There, my uncle took me for my 21st birthday. We were like, we had his company seats, like 50-yard line, 10 rows up.
It was cold that night.
It was freezing. Like half our group left at halftime because they were down 24-3. And
You're yelling at them?
I did not think they were going to come back and win that game that night.
Oh yeah, no.
There's
No
like
way.
a lot of games. Like, do you remember there was a home game, Colin Kaepernick, San Francisco era?
Yep.
Here? Overtime?
I want
Oh,
to say
almost
it was,
went to overtime. Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
say
They-
it was like
they almost came
31-3.
back. Yep.
I never thought that game
Yeah.
was over.
Yeah.
I thought there was a chance the Patriots would come back, and ultimately they did. I think they came back and tied it, and then San Francisco went right down the
Michael
field and scored a
Crabtree,
touchdown.
Yeah.
That game against Denver that night, the Patriots were so sloppy. In addition to Denver being so good, I
All
just
year.
didn't think there was any chance that they were going to come back.
I have so little recollection of that Denver game.
Same.
Yeah.
It's so weird. No, it's so weird. I don't know what was going on in that game, but I was definitely
Sounded just
distracted.
like Will when he said, "Same."
And I mean, obviously, I remember them coming back, but I just like the details of that game. I have very, very little.
No, Sean
recollection.
Moreno ran for over 200 yards,
Yeah.
but the
It's on
Wisconsin
Ball.
Monty
Yeah,
Ball,
Monty Ball.
had a huge fumble on a screen that because they were moving the ball every time they got it. Like the Patriots didn't stop them like ever, but they still somehow managed to come back because they kept doing something colossally stupid like that. And all the mistakes the Patriots made in the first half, the Broncos did it in the second half.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots, people forget this, the Patriots actually had a 7-point lead with Denver having the ball going into the wind at the end. And in Denver, again, like I said, they moved it every time. They went right down the field and scored to tie the game. And then it went to overtime, and they had the ball hit the up back on the punt, and Gostowski kicked the field goal.
I just remember watching the opening game that season. I think was the Broncos, like the NFL kickoff game, and they absolutely blew doors. I think Welker was on the team, right? Like Welker had gone to them at that point, 2013, right? Yep. Like after 2012, and it's just being like, oh my God, this team looks so good. They just came out flying.
Was that year? The year they beat Baltimore?
Sounds right. That was the game, the 2013 game, that made me a running backs don't matter person, because Denver ran the ball for like 300 yards in that game. They could not get Noshawn Moreno on the ground. The box was just wide open.
They were inviting him to run.
They were begging them to run the football.
Every time the other team ever had success doing anything, it was automatically perceived that Bill did that on purpose. But on that particular night,
totally
I do believe that was part of the design. Was we got to give something up.
Yeah.
We'd rather have him do this 6-8 yards at a time as opposed to Manning throwing it all over us.
They were literally playing with a 5-man box in the second half. It with 2 high safeties, just begging Denver to hand the ball off. And I remember Peyton just checking out of every pass play because of the box count. And I just could imagine Bill being like, "Do it again, check out of it again."
But if they don't fumble, I mean, they scored 30 whatever points. You know, if they don't fumble, they probably win the game.
100%.
But that is one of the rare times that, the wall defenders, I actually agreed with that night. I do think that was part of Bill's plan. Was we got to give him something, because you can't take everything away. I'd rather have Noshawn Moreno run for 200 yards than Peyton throw for 400.
My favorite game was the next year against Denver here, with like the Edelman punt return for a touchdown. Gronk had that
was
crazy
the Jules
one-handed
game.
game.
Got to come see my guy.
That was one of my best.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I got to see my guy.
My favorite games.
Jake writes in, Fred, it looks as though you're wearing a Targaryen dragon on your T-shirt this afternoon. Is this true? It is.
Oh, yeah.
I dug deep in the T-shirt drawer this morning.
How many T-shirts would you say you have?
I don't know, probably 40.
I'm probably in that neighborhood too.
Question: a lot of them though I don't wear anymore.
Too many stains.
No, it's just like either they don't fit or like it's just I'm not interested in what they say.
Are you attached to them though? You can't get rid of them, like
it's a good T-shirt, and you never know.
Yeah.
And why not?
Right.
You don't throw away good clothes.
Alex, hello.
Question for the group: what Game of Thrones character would you have sat on the Iron Throne?
Well, Jon Snow. Right?
Yeah, but Jon Snow couldn't, because
I can't participate.
Throw those things out.
I wish that Game of Thrones ended with the happy ending and Daenerys never turned. Right. That'd be my personal wish, because personally, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the show, personally
you had a crush on her.
Well, obviously, but second to that, I just think that heel turn was so poorly done that all of a sudden she went from the savior of the world that they live in to burning an entire city down with 1 million people just in 2 episodes. Yeah. We did that.
It did seem rushed.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I could understand, maybe if they had developed that a little bit more, but I could understand why she turned after all she had gone through, and no one's going to question me anymore. But that's it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between that and burning an entire city to the ground with your dragon.
Yeah,
fire and blood.
There's kind of a middle ground.
Well, like Fred said, I think the issue is how quick it was. Weren't the producers
100%.
or showrunners rushing to get Game of Thrones done to go work on Star Wars, and then they got fired from Star Wars ultimately
right?
anyways?
Well, that's part of it, and they also ran out of source material, which was a big part of it too.
Yeah, George R. R. Martin got lazy. He got too rich and lazy and stopped writing the books.
Yeah, so
this is one of my hot takes though. I thought the Game of Thrones, it was fine. I didn't get that.
I was like,
fine.
It's
fine.
I've never been more angry about an end of a show ever in my life.
He's a TV knower.
Yeah, but
Evan is.
I mean, maybe. But when you think of some of the most memorable TV moments, Game of Thrones has a lot of them.
Yeah.
Sure. For how good the show was for the entire duration of the show, to end it so poorly was one of the like I've never been as angry about TV as I was at that.
But don't you feel like to me it was like there were so many possibilities and speculation. What could it be? What could happen? And it was like ultimately it's got to be something. Like it's not going to be all that cool. And like I think the big thing they wanted was to say who Jon Snow really was and who his parents really were, and that was the big twist that they were hoping landed. The end was a little clunky, sure, but I don't know. At the end of the day, you got to wrap it all up somehow.
Awful.
Yeah.
No.
It rarely has a series that had that many people watching it ended and everyone was happy with how it ended.
I will say, and I did not watch Game of Thrones, but I will say that ending like iconic series is an incredibly difficult thing,
for sure.
and I don't know of too many that people said, you know what, they got that perfect.
There was one. It was a one-season series. It was Mayor of Easttown, or
was that with
terrific show.
That might have had the most perfect ending I've ever seen.
It's a terrific show. Yeah, I remember
that ending was perfect.
Yeah.
That was with Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet.
Smoking vapes all the time. Yep.
Yeah, she was the sheriff.
Because there's another one that's like Mayor of Eastham, and then there's like the Mayor of Eastwood or something.
Well, this isn't Mayor. It's Mayor.
I know that one.
I think it's Mayor of Easttown.
There's another show that's like
Easttown,
Mayor of something that sounds
Mayor
similar.
of East.
Yeah.
Eastwood or East.
I know, right? Sorry.
Deuce liking the Game of Thrones ending's not surprising.
It was fine.
It's not surprising.
I think people were dramatic about how bad it was.
Oh, it was
I kind of lean more.
We invested years of our lives in the show.
I didn't love The
understand.
Sopranos ending.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
No.
But I love the show.
I feel like that would have been different for me if I had watched it when it was happening. Like I watched The Sopranos because it was on when I was a kid. So like when I watched it as an adult, I was like, all right, I could see this ending. But I'm sure if I invested 8 years of my life on it, it would have been.
Well, that was Lost. It's just a regular network show. Yeah. That was a absolute horrific
Lost
finale.
I thought you meant the ending was Lost.
I wanted all of my time back. I wanted all of my time back that I invested watching the show. That's how bad I thought.
Did you get to the end?
What was that ending?
Don't watch Lost.
Like purgatory.
Did they not have a plan?
That's my guess. I don't know because I don't have all the inside chat rooms that Alex has.
Well, when Game of Thrones was going on, I was like, I need to know all the backstories. I need to be caught up on the news. I want to hear from the directors, and I don't know. I kind of geek out about that stuff a little bit.
Yeah, I did stay on and I listened.
And there was
to
like
those.
a point where it came. I don't know if it was like maybe the 6th season where you have this wicked long build up throughout the whole show, and they create this world, and then all of a sudden, like it takes one episode to get all the way beyond like the bridge and fight the White Walkers, and it's like, okay, this is really rushed. Like, how did this bird travel all this distance to carry this message in half of an episode? Like
it's a show with dragons.
It started moving too quickly.
Like I don't need to see the journey. Like I understand the point. There's actually a really good Ringer podcast that's Game of Thrones. I think it's called Talk the Thrones or something like that. And they do it for House of the Dragon now also. And like those people know more about like that world.
Get a life, people.
It's like how much I know about football. I'm like, what are we doing? Like you're spending all this time like thinking about this, and like they know all like the family trees and it's crazy.
Are you guys doing House of Dragon? Like I tapped out on that. I kind of watched the first season and I was like, this isn't getting me the same way.
I've been watching it. I'm up to date on it. It's not Game of Thrones, but it's still.
Why? Like, why isn't it? What did it lose? That's what I'm asking myself. What's the loss of appeal for House of Dragon? That because I kind of like the zombie subplot. Like, I was less about the power struggle between all the different factions, and I kind of like this ominous thing that's hanging over everybody, is that they're going to get attacked by the White Walkers. But that's out of it now. Now it's just kind of power struggle, right?
Yeah, I would say that the two biggest things are like Game of Thrones did such a great job of laying the foundation for all the characters that you actually like had a connection to all of the main characters. So like at the end of season 1, you're like, what just happened, right? Whereas like I feel like with House of the Dragon, I don't like feel for the characters as much as I did with Game of Thrones, so maybe that's a part of it. But this last season of House of the Dragon was pretty good. Like they had some real kind of like Game of Thrones-esque, deaths and like shockers and stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Al said from Wisconsin, Game of Thrones fell off a cliff like 2 seasons prior when they got past the books. The awfulness of the season 8 was of no surprise to me. Didn't even watch it.
How do you know it stunk?
Right.
I did. Yeah, the books is the big reason why.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
big. I mean, I read the books. Like I started watching. Like I got to read these books. But I mean, he hasn't put out more, and so you knew he was kind of flying
But
blind.
they rushed him
He
because
got lazy
Right.
and rich.
He told
caught
them
up-
like, all right,
they
Jon
caught
Snow
up to
is
the
really
book and
gonna
he
be-
wasn't ready to do. That's I had
Yeah.
heard that.
Oh, and this is like
theory.
I mean, I don't know how, but like maybe 1 or 2 seasons that they had to kind of make up on their own. I'm sure it was
I think he
guided by
worked
George
with
R. R. Martin,
them,
right? But
but-
still, it's not his storytelling that was so well laid out in the first season.
Bill says the best ending to a series I ever saw was the finale of Will and Grace, and then they ruined it by rebooting it.
So I don't recall that finale. But I kind of, didn't really watch that show as regularly.
But it's
because
hard.
you know me, Fred.
Yeah.
I'll give a sitcom a chance.
It's hard to end.
Will and Grace is funny.
One
Will
of
and Grace
those-
was funny.
Yeah.
Funny show.
Yeah.
It
Good
was.
writing. Good writing.
It
Very
was.
good writing. All right. I'm going to take a break. I smell my food. And if I'm distracted like that, I just can't continue. So we will be right back after this.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/one-rate for details. Exclusions apply.
Bauman, Alex Francisco, Chris Casti,
doing?
and Evan Lazar. We're going to read some leftover emails for you guys because we know the listeners love to hear the emails read. So, ready for number one? You good?
How you doing kills me.
We got Jarrett from Kingston. It started with Zappy, then Malik Cunningham, and now Joe Milton. Some fans, like London from last show, really need to simmer down with these third-string quarterbacks. Calling them starters and getting it all worked up when they get moved is crazy. Evan had Deuce heated about that. As with Wilfred Laurier University alumni, I hope the Patriots pick up Taylor Elgersma so all these fans can hop on his bandwagon too. A question I had about the Patriots Hall of Fame was, why do fans even get to vote instead of the committee? Just putting people in who deserve it, or who deserve it in. I get they want fan engagement, but builders and coaches will almost never get in over the players, even if they deserve it.
That's a good point.
I agree with it too.
Yeah, like regular halls of fame obviously just have a committee that votes or voters. Like I think the baseball hall of fame is like media voters, right? But I get where that's coming from. Algersma is an interesting prospect. He's a Canadian, as the emailer alluded to, and he was at the Senior Bowl, but played a lot of Canadian football and is a little bit older, but is one of those guys that is kind of fun. Like he didn't play a ton of college football and that sort of thing. So kind of under the radar prospect as a late round pick. And look, the backup quarterback's been the most popular guy in town since the beginning of times. Like he's always the most popular guy in town. Going back to like Michael Bishop with the Patriots, is another guy with a big arm that everybody was infatuated with. So this is nothing new.
Yeah, so on the Hall of Fame thing, good stuff on the quarterback there. But Hall of Fame, it's just tough because 20 years of excellence means 20 years of great players. Other players are going to start to get passed over. You have the Edelmans and the Gronks who were NFL superstars coming in. So it is tough, and I think they might I personally think they should maybe change how many people get in a class just because there's so many big players coming in. But Chris, I don't know if you disagree. Alex, if you disagree.
Especially with the dynasty years,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're gonna start to see kind of a popularity contest and a little bit of a backlog. But I mean, Mr. Kraft did kind of override it and get Bill Parcells into the Hall of Fame. So maybe if that keeps having to happen every year, they change the process. But I say leave it up to the experts.
Yeah, I agree. You guys kind of hit on everything. I just think it comes down to like the fan vote is all popularity contest. I mean, for my generation at least, all we know growing up at least was winning. So
When's your birthday? What year?
2001.
Oof.
Sorry guys, you guys are all what? 40?
Unks
40?
and aunties.
Yeah, seriously, that's crazy. Anyways,
Unction.
I was born in the 1900s.
To that point, all I know is winning. So all I really, I mean, as a Patriots fan, I know more than just that. But
spoiled.
My point is, all those guys coming up are all studs. Like
Yeah.
you can make an argument for anyone.
I think
So-
the first ballot thing kind of matters, though. Like,
Yeah.
like
No, I agree.
Edelman should be a first
Well,
ballot.
that's
I
the tough
think,
part
but-
about this year is just what I was going to add about the Hall of Fame. Like, this is a really good litmus test of this because Edelman and Vinatieri could potentially go head-to-head on the Hall of Fame ballot, and they are two of the biggest fan favorites, but Edelman is kind of a different generation of Patriots fans. And so, like, all the 2010s Patriots fans outweigh all the early Dynasty Patriots fans. I'm an order of operations guy, so, like, I feel like Vinatieri should get in first and then Edelman just because of the years they went in. But then you run into the problem that Gronk is coming up, too. So, like, at some point you're going to get to Gronk, and it's like, well, Gronk's going to be a first ballot, I would think. So it gets complicated.
And you bring up a great point about it's mostly younger fans that are on social media, on the internet, that are seeing these contests even kind of arise, as opposed to the people who were there to really appreciate the OG dynasty, you know?
Yeah.
No, so it's an interesting story, and we'll see what happens this year. All right,
Food for
next.
thought.
Hey, everyone. The more I think about this draft, the more I'm only really interested in Travis Hunter. Having a super versatile players like him and Marcus Jones on the team is just super fun for me. While I'm not going to complain about getting Abdul Carter or Will Campbell, there's always going to be some thought of it in the back of my mind that I would have preferred Hunter. I know we pick fourth, so we don't have a choice in the matter, but the Giants have Malik Neighbors and the Browns need to replace Watson. Can they just let Hunter slip to us? That was from Valerian in sunny Summerland, BC.
Well, I'm with you, Valerian. I have Travis Hunter as the number one player on my board, mainly because he plays wide receiver. And the Patriots, as we talked about it in another show, is starving for wide receivers for a while. You have this young, thoroughbred quarterback, and it would be really great to have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, for the next 5 to 10 years with Drake May and Travis Hunter. So that's the reason why I have him over Carter personally, is simply just offense, right? You need offense. He's an offensive player, dynamite offensive player. I would love it.
And I feel like they've touched on defense a lot already.
Yeah.
So you kind of need that offensive weapon. And, I mean, I really hope Travis Hunter falls because I think that's a lot of people's just go-to right now.
Yeah, I agree. I want Hunter, Carter. I'd be okay with Campbell, but it sucks to go 4-13 and take the least sexy position in the draft. Like, I mean, we saw it with Cole Strange. Like, you don't see any crazy plays during training camp. So, I mean, Hunter's a thing, but Hunter's what you want, but we're at 4, so we don't really say.
Matisse, sometimes, like, when you get socks for Christmas,
Yeah.
even though it's not the sexy gift, it's not the fun gift, it's just the gift that you need.
Dependable.
It's dependable. It's reliable.
Is it a Nike Elite sock, though?
And this is one of those years where socks for Christmas might be the move for the Patriots. And
that's fair.
You might not have these great plays that we can talk about in training camp, but Drake May's jersey is going to have no mud on it after a game.
Protection
and
at all
that's going to be
costs.
good, too.
Wisdom.
Well, Evan, well said. Well said. All right. Let me get to the next one here. Okay. Kamel from Georgia. 1. What do you guys think about the fans getting mad about this quote from wide receiver coach Todd Downing on being a first-time wide receiver coach? Quote, I may not be the greatest drill footwork specialist out there, but I know football, and I know what it takes to get the receivers open on time. I know what the quarterback's thinking from a coverage standpoint. End quote.
I think people are concerned about the footwork thing, but outside of that, I don't see much worry there.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is going to come at it as more of like a conceptual coach, right? Like, this is your job within the route. concept and within the play, and the quarterback has this timing and this many steps in his drop, and you're going to have to be able to time up with the quarterback to get open and get the football. So there's a lot of value in that sort of thing. I think a lot of young receivers especially struggle with the timing aspect. You hear a lot about TikTok routes, right? We're just going to run these routes with like 7 breaks in them just to create all this separation. We're going to post it on TikTok. Well, in the NFL, you don't have 7 seconds to get open, right? You have to get open off the line and get open quickly. I am a little bit surprised that they didn't add a assistant wide receivers coach that has a wide receiver background, though, like maybe like a Wes Welker, like a former player that played the position, just to come in and coach up some of that technique stuff. But I think there's a lot of value in the conceptualization of the position as well.
No, totally.
Is that a word? I just made that word.
No, it works.
Yeah.
All right, part 2 of Kamel's question. I saw that Christian Gonzalez is eligible for an extension next offseason. If he has another great year and gets all pro again, what do you think his extension would be? So that being said, Jace Horn got what, 100 years, or sorry, 100 million with 70 mil guaranteed, 4 years, not 100.
Yeah.
Eventually,
We'll get there.
100 years.
I'm trying to go serious, and you're joking about
How
that.
can you be serious?
I
with
mean,
these guys?
that's pretty par for the course. So yes, what? So Horn. Stingley, I think, just got a new deal, right? Denzel Ward got a new deal recently. Top of the wide receiver or cornerback market, we're talking about close to $25 million a year at this point, and I think Christian Gonzalez more than earned it if he has another year like last year. We're talking about 2 back-to-back All-Pro seasons. He's going to be right at the top of the market. So I think you're looking at 4 years, $100 million.
I also think you don't want to end up like the Bengals where you wait and then other players get paid and now you're paying even more.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, but he's going to get paid eventually.
He needs his payment. I think he's so worth it.
Yeah.
I
as
don't
long as he
wanna-
stays healthy, he's going to get paid.
Totally.
I don't want to see him slip away at all.
All right, this is an interesting one and might expose Evan for being unk, but we'll see. I was a small child when the Carolina Panthers and Jags became NFL teams. Do you remember how those teams got all their players? Did they get multiple first and second round picks, or did they have to fill the roster with mostly free agents? Fred's drafting futures made me think of this. Dave in Maine.
So the Jaguars, I wouldn't say really developed into a great team. Carolina Panthers, though, like the Panthers, the Patriots played in the Super Bowl. That was a mixed bag. Like there were guys from all over the place that they kind of pulled in. Julius Peppers and Steve Smith and Moose Muhammad, of course, and really good players. But if I remember correctly, this is probably a better question for Paul, to be honest with you, because he's really good at this kind of stuff. But if I remember correctly, they kind of dipped into every avenue, There's
like an expansion draft, right?
Usually you get an expansion draft, and then usually that team gets the first overall pick. I think Houston did. They took Mario Williams or David Carr or one of those.
It was Carr.
Yeah, one of those
like
picks.
2 years later.
It was. But I remember Carolina, and I remember them building a really good roster with John Fox just going about it all different ways. And underrated Patriots Super Bowl. Like not a one that's like really stands out to most people, but in terms of that game itself, like that was one of the best games out of all.
That would be a crazy game now if it was when Twitter was out, stuff like that. I think the reactions would have been crazy.
Live tweeting.
Yeah. All right, last question. Hey guys, what do you think of Stephon Diggs wearing number 8? At least it's not the cursed number 17. Have a nice day, Stephon from Vienna.
Oh,
yeah,
Stephon.
Yeah,
Stephon.
What's up, Stephon?
There we go.
So Dick shared a little bit. I don't know when this will air, but to us it's last night about him choosing 8, and he shared a screenshot in particular just about the symbolism of the number 8 in the Bible, as well as sharing screenshots of Kobe Bryant's number 8 Lakers jersey. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm hoping to talk about that with him in the near future. Maybe we'll get him on PU at some point and we can ask him personally.
I also think it's like kind of a new era for him and just trying to take that step forward. And I mean, he could wear 14. Yeah, he could wear 1 again if he wants, but
Spillane 14.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta let him have it.
I find it interesting because us growing up, receivers were in the 80s, but now if you wear an 80s, it's considered like the washed number, which is crazy to me. But I think 8's a solid one.
You'd probably be like 88.
Well, that's a big 83 guy.
88's a good receiver.
Yeah, 88 is a good receiver. 89 also.
Des Bryant, right? Yeah.
But Evan, any thoughts on 8?
I don't mind 8.
You don't care. You just want him in the end zone.
I just want him to catch passes.
Yeah.
But I would say with Diggs though, What I like about 8 is there's a lot of talk about him potentially taking 1, which is currently Jalen Polk's number, and like technically he's the veteran. Like he probably could pay Jalen Polk or something like that, or give him some sort of thanks, buddy, for the number. But I like that he didn't want to do that. Like he put it out on social media, I remember, and kind of took a poll of fans of what number they wanted him to take, and a lot of people said 1, and he's like, nope, one's taken by Polk. It's his number, and I kind of like that.
No, so here's what he shared about the number 8. It says the number 8 is very significant, such that it is used 73 times in the Bible. It's the symbol of resurrection and regeneration. In the Bible numerology, 8 means a new beginning and denotes a new order or creation, a man's true born-again event where he is resurrected from the dead into eternal life.
Wow, there you go. That's deep.
Right? Perfect way to join the Patriots.
Welcome to the Patriots.
All right, guys, thank you for joining the Patriots PU Extras. Let's get back to Patriots Unfiltered.
And now, great moments in history.
P.S. I was hoping you guys could send me some good luck. I'm a writer in progress and have just sent off a submission that, if accepted, may get me my first novel. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Well, we will. Absolutely.
I know what you're going through, Claire.
Claire from West... You don't know what she's going through.
I do. I'm trying to get a book published. I know what that is like.
It sounds like she sent it off. It's like in the works.
No, she said she sent it off. Like she's trying to get it published.
Oh, well.
Unless I'm misunderstanding what she's saying.
Yeah. Well, hers is finished.
Yeah, so's mine.
It is?
That's why I'm trying to get it published.
The Africa one?
Yes.
This is a long time ago, right?
That's another great moment from
There was more to that, but anyway.
It all comes full circle, though, with Hunter Henry's Africa trip. I love it.
I was going to ask him if he had read the book, but no one has.
It doesn't exist.
Right. All right, we're back here at Patriots Unfiltered. 855-PASS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. Also, if you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can do that by going to patriots.com/PU newsletter. And any teasers?
Oh, Big Deuce
On
AMA.
my AMA, yeah. Big
Like, I
Deuce
had
AMA.
to cut off the questions because I was getting inundated with them.
Oh, okay.
You can't answer all of them?
I could, but
I
think
think
I was just
I didn't
protecting
wanna
You can put like 2 or
overwhelm
3 in the newsletter and then just put a link for more.
Right, for more.
All
Didn't
right.
want to overwhelm him.
Talking football, we're also talking about great endings in TV history. Spee in Fresno writes in, this is football. I have a big old finger wag for Paul Perillo. Toward the end of last Thursday's show, an emailer asked if your takes on winning the last game of the season have changed in light of our current sense of the fourth pick's value. Mike said he'll wait until after the draft. If we get Hunter, Mike's fine with that last win, but if not, then not. Paul loved this, praising Mike's Paul-like stubbornness in waiting and holding out like that. But that is total hypocrisy. Paul routinely excoriates people for waiting to develop their takes in hindsight, and now he's praising Mike for angling to do so. Forsooth, this is not the PP way. Stake your claims now and firmly, as if this were the Oklahoma land run. Okay, I'll go touch grass.
Yeah, I for myself, I admitted, I think Evan was on an island. He didn't care. And it turns out that you have the 4th pick in a 2-player draft.
I tried to tell you guys it was a 2-player draft, and you didn't want to believe me.
I don't believe anything you say.
But I actually respect a lot about Deuce. He's not wrong until he's wrong.
Well, that's what I said.
That's it.
That's Paul.
Who would you take if you had the first overall pick? And then I'd be
right
like,
there.
hey, we won a game and we still got the guy we wanted, a 4th overall.
Okay, it could still be the 4th pick in the 2-player draft. If you get one of those 2 players, you're not wrong.
Ben in Brooklyn says Vinatieri has to be the pick for the Patriots Hall of Fame. I wanted to pick up on that call from Dave earlier this week, though it was a great call. Just as they've kicked the can down the road at left tackle, I sort of feel they've done the same thing at wide receiver. Sure, slight nuance in that they've at least drafted wide receivers and maybe not true left tackles, as Paul would say, someone who actually played the position. But in the context of Travis Hunter being available, not taking him would certainly be kicking the wide receiver can down the road, and a more valuable can at that.
There's no chance that I could be proven wrong if he's not on the board. But I will tell you with as much certainty as I can, if Travis Hunter is on the board at 4 overall, then he is a Patriot. Like, they are not going to pass on Travis Hunter. I can tell you that.
I don't see it either.
With 99% certainty that they would not pass on Travis Hunter. Or Abdul Carter, I don't think. As long as, I don't know about all this off-field stuff that's been coming up, but the player, no chance.
Jack and Anaba. After John Hanna, Logan Menkins is by far the greatest guard in the history of the New England Patriots.
Greatest offensive lineman.
He deserves unequivocally to be in the Patriots Hall of Fame. Why do you appreciate the value of the guard position as if a team could be successful without a good guard? Good guard play. The Patriots' record over the past 3 seasons is a tribute to what happens when the team doesn't have a competent offensive line. You said something throwaway line right there.
I think
Logan
he's
Menkins,
the second best offensive lineman in team history.
better than Bruce Armstrong.
Yeah, and that's not just my opinion.
Julius Adams.
He didn't play offensive line.
I mean Leon Gray.
Yes, he's widely considered to be the third best.
Okay.
Or in the conversation. You were in the meeting. Why you hitting back? You know that there's people in that meeting that talked about this. That know more than we do.
Yeah.
I think you can say his name, right?
Dante Scarnecchia and Ernie Adams both feel that strongly about Logan Menkins.
I think you need Ernie and Dante to make the pitch. Like, those are the guys that should be making the case.
Dante made the pitch for Logan Menkins. Now it was. How do you say, in absentia?
In absentia.
Oh, yeah.
He was not there, but he prepared. Not surprisingly, Dante came prepared. He had a full breakdown.
Yeah, but the rules are that you can't nominate someone if you're not in the room. So.
Well, he did.
No.
Yeah, he did. Did you get the email?
Yeah, but
Chris Price nominated him on behalf of Dante. Like, the whole thing was right there.
I know, I saw that, but then Stacy said right after that, you can't nominate somebody if you're not in the room.
Okay. Well, I guess
we read it anyway, but it wasn't considered an official nomination.
It was a nomination. Logan Menkins was nominated. He's on the ballot.
Did you not hear what Stacy said?
Is Logan Menkins not one of the nominations?
Chris Price nominated him.
Thank you.
And read the statement from
Thank you,
Dante.
Evan Lazar.
I'm trying to help with the,
Thank you.
the situation.
Like, he was nominated.
Well, Chris Price had to do it.
For Dante.
But
the email wouldn't have worked.
Someone had to read the email?
No, but he backed it up. Like,
If he was the only one in the room that felt
Did you
strongly
hear what
that
Stacey
Logan
said?
Menkins... No.
Okay, so then...
I didn't hear
it's
that.
not
I'm not
worth
going to lie
arguing
and
then.
make it up.
Yeah, so it's not
But
worth
he was
arguing.
nominated, so
I
what
know-
are we arguing
I know,
about?
but it's not worth...
This isn't even a good one for me.
He
and
literally
you.
said you have
is
to be in the
beneath us.
room to nominate, and that's why Chris Price had to do it.
This is beneath even me and you.
Well, like, what does Dante say? Like, what? He's not using PFF stats. I mean, what is his...
His PFF grade
Well,
was
right, like
90.2.
but this is a guy who actually knows and can
His
make...
toughness, his versatility, his accolades, all pros.
I saw him punch a guy in the nuts in Denver.
That got brought up in the meeting too.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, good.
Part of the pitch.
Yeah.
Someone said, what a tremendous guy he was off field. You know what I mean? It's like
Except for
one
that
of these
time in
things doesn't.
Denver.
Except for the time maybe he needs an Ecubon would he'd care to disagree.
Can you imagine the difference between what a Edelman Gronk induction ceremony would be like, and like Mankins would probably show up in like his dirt-covered jeans and have like his hat, like he just got off the
Snapback,
tractor,
Cat Diesel
like he
hat.
just rides the tractor up to the stage.
I would
and
hope
takes
that
it
he
and
would.
walks
Like, I
away.
hope it would be genuine.
Right?
But I feel like
That'd be him.
he embodies everything that you want in an offensive lineman. Like, not just his talent, but the snarl and the toughness and the grit that he had too. I mean, he was just... That's exactly what you look about. When you look at prototypes for guards, like Logan Menkins is a prototypical.
And when he
guard.
had to fill in a tackle, he was competent.
He shut down Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
And tie it back to Game of Thrones. He's like a bannerman. You would want Logan Mankins like by your side with his greatsword, taking on all comers with that.
It always comes back to Game of Thrones. Chris with a
Couldn't
TIAN
agree
writes
more.
in. He says Game of Thrones ending was rushed, so disappointing, especially with how good season 7 was. Alex is right. That fat load George R.R. Martin got rich and became a bigger slob.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
And
Jets fan,
two,
too.
best endings in the series, in my opinion, were 2, 6 Feet Under and Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, Sons of Anarchy!
That was good.
I saw all of that one. That's a tough show, but I really like that show. I think that show was really well done. Each season was contained. Like, you talk about having a plan. Like, I never thought, like, Star Wars, no plan. Like, they didn't know what they were doing when they set out movie 1 to movie 3. But, like, Sons of Anarchy, each season, you felt like you get to the end, I don't know how this is going to work out. They're in a pickle now. And then somehow it all comes back together in a way that you didn't really expect, and things that you'd kind of dismissed are important now. They had at least a few good seasons of that, and the ending's
really good show.
pretty good, too.
It's a great show. It's
Yeah.
a little out.
It's
like,
violent.
It's a little out there. Like,
violent.
there's some things, some tough topics that it covers, but it's really good.
Xavier in Jamaica writes in about bad TV endings. He said, my contribution is How I Met Your Mother. They
That's a bad
They ruined
bad
it with
ending.
what they did with the mother and Robin.
Correct.
Can't even rewatch it now. Feels like they knifed me and wasted my time with all the character growth, including Barney.
No, that's 1,000% true. It's hard to even watch the reruns and enjoy them knowing how it ends.
Yeah.
That's how bad the ending was.
Well, how did it end? Well, I didn't even think I watched it.
It wasn't.
I mean, I know Robin. It wasn't Robin.
It wasn't Robin.
The wife dies.
And the wife just dies.
And then he
like
gets
he finally
with
finds his
Ron.
mother, his wife, and they like kill her off.
Yeah.
And he ends up with Robin. Like, it was just
That's not
bad.
happy. That's not a happy ending.
Kyle writes in, did you guys hear about the direwolves being brought back?
Yes.
In the Game of Thrones
Did you
fandom,
hear
the
about
biggest
it?
complaint is that they named the female wolf Khaleesi after Dany instead of after a character from House Stark, whose symbol is a dire wolf.
Right.
They named
Snow.
Oh, like the new.
Who's
dire
going to answer for
wolf.
this?
Ghost.
I thought you were talking about the ones in the show, and I was like, which one's name is Khaleesi?
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
I wanted a Samoyed for a really
they just
long
made
time.
two,
to
right?
So
do Ghost.
on one of Paul's shows, they're talking about they brought this
This ought to be
dire
good.
wolf back from the DNA of a tooth, and they're like, I don't like that. You see what happened in Jurassic Park? It's like, it's that movie. Your shows.
But
I mean, direwolves are badass, though.
I guess
They're
I'm an
so
idiot
cool.
too.
What?
I don't like the whole idea of it.
Oh, bringing back
stuff
Yeah.
back.
species
Cloning.
that no, I
'Cause I
have
do
reservations about it too.
I do think about
There's a reason
that.
why they died out.
And I think about, like, you screw around too much, and all of a sudden you bring in T-Rexes back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you seen the movie?
Have you seen Jurassic Park?
Have you seen Terminator?
It didn't end well for Newman.
And then like, well, there was a bad guy in Jurassic Park. And they're trying to like, it wasn't real.
I know it was a movie, but like this, I just think
Well, that was
you
Jeff Goldblum's whole point. It's like, life finds a way. So
I also
screw
just
around
like
and
they keep on remaking Jurassic Park. Like, you would think they would have learned their lesson.
They keep remaking everything.
Right.
No one has any more original ideas that
No.
they
It's
want to
like
invest money into. They just want to remake everything
Right.
we've already had.
Well, you think
And have
about
a
it,
sure
right?
thing.
So
Yeah.
you think about like 1,000 years in the future, and we keep doing this kind of stuff, and now we're actually creating life on other planets. We're changing atmospheres, and we're actually putting life on other planets, and you think, well, maybe that's how we got here. Maybe somebody
That's
did
deep,
that
Fred.
here.
Wow.
That's deep.
Getting philosophical here. in
I
the
don't
last
know.
8
think they're
minutes.
just watching us from
Maybe
like Mars
everything
right
is just
now.
one big
Probably.
circle, and it just keeps happening over
Maybe
and
that's
over.
why the
and
I
over.
aliens
think
are
that's
coming
true.
back
I'm
because
too
they
sober for
they
this.
see us getting a little out of hand down here. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden
Yeah.
UFOs are real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life is a
That
flat
was-
circle.
That was deep.
It's a true detective thing.
Let's get into some quantum physics.
David says best ending was Newhart, no doubt about it.
I liked that ending. Fred didn't.
Yeah, I
Fred
didn't
thought
like it.
there was a cop out.
Yeah, I thought so. Oh, it's all a dream. Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was very clever and very funny.
I
now,
know
think
at the
you're
time
right.
it was a big hit.
I think you're right now, because I think a lot of people have gone to that crutch.
Yeah, dreams.
I know how we
Yeah.
don't have any idea what we're doing. Oh, it was just a dream.
Yeah.
Lost.
Cheers was a pretty famous one where Sam saying goodbye to the bar, and I don't know, it was strange to have an emotional connection to a sitcom that meant a lot. I mean, it was obviously a hugely popular show, but they ended it kind
What
of
about
on
the
an emotional
Seinfeld
note.
ending?
Meh.
Yeah, I thought
It
that
wasn't
too.
terrible.
No,
but I didn't love it.
I mean, it was ironic,
No.
but it was. Eh.
Yeah.
Well, you see what
It
happened
was better
is
when
they,
Curb did it.
they ended up.
Kurt
Fred,
did the same thing. I know they copied the ending, and unabashedly.
So I don't know if you understood, but like the whole thing with
Yeah,
the
he's
button
copying
and where the
himself.
button is in the shirt,
Right.
that was like one of
from
their
episode
Right.
season one. Yeah,
Like you
Paul
get
hates
that,
the
right?
stand-up from
Right.
Seinfeld. He didn't like
Do you
that.
get you get that?
You
I
didn't
don't
like- no,
particularly like
the first
Jerry
couple seasons where
Seinfeld's-
they did the sign. They
I thought it was like the worst part of the show.
Yeah.
Bob
What's
Doyle
the
was
deal with that?
Bob Doyle gets passionately
He likes
upset
it.
with me.
He likes it. Yeah.
He likes Seinfeld. You do too, I think.
Oh, I love
Seinfeld
Seinfeld. I love
stand up.
getting Bob Doyle
his
fired
real
up.
stand-up. I saw Seinfeld before the show. I saw him at the Paradise.
Yeah.
And
It all gets back to what Fred did as
Yeah.
as a youth.
I
As a youth.
Like a paradise.
I remember
sound.
Seinfeld's appearances on the Johnny Carson show. I was a big fan before Seinfeld was Seinfeld.
I loved the show. I still watch a lot of reruns of it. But the ending wasn't great.
Yeah, no, I agree. It wasn't that great.
It wasn't terrible though. I mean, like bringing back the characters, that
Yeah.
was kind of funny.
I think off air we talked about the ending to Breaking Bad, which I thought it was a good ending. A lot of people didn't.
It was as
Yeah.
good as it could have been, I think.
Yeah, it was a tough show to end like
Yeah.
that. A lot of people thought the show should have ended 2 episodes early.
Yeah.
You know.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like we said off there, people get so emotionally invested in these shows that's like, what is going to make you happy, you know?
Oh, you do.
And I think that some of that was Seinfeld. Like it was such a
Hard
good
to
show,
land the
so
plane.
popular. How do you wrap it up? And then like Friends was another really popular show, and they went like the cop out, like happy ending, and everybody
Yeah.
was annoyed with that too because that wasn't a great ending. Like it's hard. It's hard when you have shows like that to strike a perfect balance.
So Chad says it's a lie that the wolves are genetically derived from extinct animals. They are genetically modified to look like the ancestors.
GMO wolves?
Fake news.
That's even. I feel like that's even scarier. So they're like test tube wolves.
know
I
what's
don't know.
gonna
I
happen.
don't want that.
How'd you not name Atlas something from the Game of Thrones? The dire wolves.
Well, Atlas, big dog. So like Atlas, big strong.
World.
Yeah. That's how we
Earth.
came up with that. Plus, we also wanted to go
I just think of a map.
We want to go in alphabetical order.
How many dogs you get?
You
So,
got a couple of calls
Atlas-
on the line there, Fred. We're running out of time.
Okay, let's get to the call. Sorry. I'm too busy with
D,
emails.
maybe?
People- sorry about that. Derek's in South Carolina. What's up, Derek? Derek, he's not there. He's been hanging on for over an hour.
Yeah, forget it.
Sorry. Let's go to Paul in California. Paul.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi. Yeah. First time caller, but long time listener. So I apologize ahead of time if this has been asked or talked about before. So I have 2 questions. So if New England is to trade down in this draft, which team would you want them to trade for the pick, and which player do you think they would pick on that trade down? And the second question is, this is too early to ask, but for this coming season, which season record do you want the team to finish in the top 10, top 15, or make it to the wild card? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so the first part, I don't care who they trade with.
Trade down? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But
they-
would you want to trade,
No.
like
Not
a
past
long way
10.
down?
Yeah, I was going to say the higher the better, obviously.
Yeah, stay in the top 10.
Yeah.
I think
And I
Chicago
don't
at
care
10
which,
is the-
sorry. And then as in terms of who they pick, who they get after they trade down, I mean, tell me who's still available.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does
Will
Sanders
Campbell.
fall to 4, and does the Raiders at 6, or I know the Saints, another team,
Yeah.
but do they want to come up and try to get him? I don't want to move out of the top 10, but I still think you could get a Will Campbell, a Membo, one of those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, guys we
Jalen
mentioned.
Walker.
The Saints at 9 feel
Yeah.
like an interesting spot. I know some of Nick Underhill, who does a really good job covering them, says that at least right now, like the temperature is that they would not make a move up for Sanders if he had to guess. But that one feels like the most likely. Team that really needs a quarterback is within shouting distance of getting up high enough to take Shador before everybody else.
Did you understand the second part, his second question?
How you want the Patriots
Where
to
do you want them to finish?
Yeah,
I
like
like
win-
first.
I want him
No,
to
like
win
win
the
the
Super Bowl.
win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I'd like him to win some
Was it
games.
an either or though? Like,
Yeah, I think that because he was kind of going in and out, so I'm not sure that maybe we missed some nuance to that.
plus they're like bringing in dirt for the Monster Mash.
They
Yeah.
bring the dirt in, they bring it out, they put the
Yeah.
dirt back in.
Yeah.
Dirt. Just moving that dirt.
What?
I don't know. It's just 2 weeks of like dirt in, dirt out.
My allergies are going
Pile
crazy.
of dirt now.
Evan's like, "Are you sick?" I'm like, "No, I'm
Yeah,
just living."
I got
on a
ahead of it. I've been
dirt
taking the
bike track."
Flonase for the last week.
I've
That's
been
smart. I
selfish.
should have done that.
Yeah.
That's why you're a
Alex was
vet.
sniffling, and I was like,
He's
"Get
like
away
giving
from
me
me!"
the eye.
Oh.
Are you sick?
Yeah, if I get behind in my allergy, forget it. I'm like,
COVID.
uncontrollably sneezing.
It's got a little bit of the COVID.
All right, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. What's going on? We'll be continuing to cover all this off-season training stuff. Anything going on this weekend of note? Nothing? No?
2 weeks to go, baby.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Weeks.
This is Fred. Thanks for tuning into. Hey, this is Fred. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure that you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube page to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.